East Clintwood, or The Lone Rider Wears Black, is protected by copyright at the United States Library of Congress. Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to Film Talk with Pasky, or Pascal, or Pascal 17. So, as you can see by the title, I'm gonna read one of my screenplays today. It's a Western called East Clintwood. So before I jump in, I have a little ground I want to cover. I just want to discuss a few things about screenwriting without getting too into that, and also a few things about my script specifically. So, the rule of thumb for writing a screenplay is that the average page count is 1 minute of screen time per page. So if you have a 120-page screenplay, you've got 120 minutes, that's 2 hours. You got a 90-page script, that's an hour and a half. It's just a general rule of thumb. You could have a page that's dense and it's all action, and maybe it's gonna take up 2 minutes of screen time. Maybe you have a page that's all dialogue and it's just gonna go shoo and just go by like that. So as it averages out over the course of the whole script, the rule of thumb is 1 minute per page. Generally, unless you're sort of an established writer, you don't want to go over 120 or 2 hours, or nobody's going to give you that time or read your thing or take you seriously. So if you're starting out, just have in mind you probably want to keep things under 120 pages. Okay, so East Clintwood. I had the idea for this screenplay because I saw a movie, I saw a Western, it's called The Proposition. And I hated that movie. Now, in all fairness, I came back and I watched it a couple times later on, and I didn't think it was as bad as I thought it was the first time. It's really that there's a main plot point at the beginning of Act 2-ish or thereabouts that just didn't make sense. And I'm like, the whole thing goes in the wrong direction. And then something happens later that ends up making it go where it should have gone to start with, but it's what that character should have just set out to do from the beginning. And then his brother decides to do that, and it's like, why wasn't that your plan to start with? So you're just like, I felt like it got off track in the early going, even though it got back on track later. So anyway, I came out of that movie and I was like, I have to write a Western. I was like, if that movie can get made, I can't possibly write a worse screenplay than that. So I'm gonna write a Western. I feel like this might be the first script I wrote. It might be somewhere approaching my 10th screenplay where I felt like, hey, I've finally written a good one. And there's a book, it's called 101 Habits of Highly Successful Screenwriters, and there's 3 guys in there who I'm not gonna name. I only remember the name of one of them. And they talk about, basically at the point, they're A-listers, these 3 guys. And this is a while ago. And they basically all say a relatively similar thing. Like, if you haven't written 10 screenplays, you haven't written a good one. And they themselves didn't actually sell or get paid to write until they got over 15. I think it was, one of them was 15, one of them was their 17th, and one of them it was over 20. Until they actually got paid or to write something or got hired. And those are all guys who are like producing for mega directors now. I like those numbers. I agree, unless there's always like a miracle thing where like you could hit it out of the ballpark on your first try. Maybe you know someone who knows how to write a screenplay and you've got a great idea. You sit down and collaborate with someone and it comes together and your first one ends up being great. It's possible to do. it's incredibly rare that's you're actually gonna have something that's good until you've written 10. I believe that, and I didn't actually, the first thing I wrote that got produced, I think it was my 15th, which is this movie, Gone Dark. Okay, so I came out of Proposition, I'm like, I gotta write a Western, so what's it gonna be? And I figured if I'm gonna write a Western, I'm gonna pay some homage to Clint Eastwood. So there's homage going on in here. It's intentional. It's not a ripoff. I'm not trying to disguise it as my own thing. And I was like, so if you're going to homage Clint Eastwood, what are you going to do? And the idea this came to me within about 5 minutes of deciding to write a Western. I'm like, homage Clint Eastwood, and then, okay, so how do I do that? So a couple of my favorite Clint Eastwood movies are High Plains Drifter and Pale Rider. And those both involve a ghost coming back to take revenge. And Pale Rider, he actually comes back to help people who are being persecuted by the people who killed him. So it's revenge and it's a little more nuanced. And Pale Rider is just a guy who's wrongly killed, and he comes back to fuck everyone up. He comes back to fuck that whole town up and all the people in it who basically watched him be murdered. So it's just straight, pure revenge. Anyway, so I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a story about a ghost that comes back for revenge. So that's where that came from. So let me say this. I used to have a friend who I'm also not going to name him because I don't know if he would appreciate that or not. He was the accountant. He was an accountant at Silver Pictures on the Warner Brother lot for a long time and became their head accountant. And he used to get my scripts covered for me at Silver Pictures. And so he got me coverage on East Clintwood, and the coverage I got on it was so terrible that it upset me. And I have a very, I'll tell you, I have a very thick skin when it comes to feedback and criticism. Normally stuff rolls off me. I let it go, and the feedback I got from this was so awful and nasty that like I really felt horrible. And I think there were a couple things going on. It was a girl who read it, and I think she took a disliking to there not being many female characters, and then basically no really significant female characters. And I think she took a disliking to that in the early going. And then she also, it's been a long time since I read it. I actually never read it again after the very first time I read it because it upset me so much. I think she took a disliking also to like the supernatural element. She couldn't, I don't know, I'm looking for another word, but she couldn't vibe like the supernatural going on in the Western, like those two things going together. So she basically just dogged the script really hard. And that's what I'm going to read. Now, oddly enough, I turned around and optioned this script to a producer and director team who were at Legendary, which is also on the Warner Brothers lot. Now they were trying to find a screenplay to make into a Western in the vein of 300. So this is a little while ago. This is like when 300 was hot. So they wanted to do to the Western what 300 did to the Gladiator pick and make a green screen Western, which I didn't really dig that idea. That wasn't my vision, but I didn't hate it, and I did like 300 a lot. So I went with it. I'm like, hey, if you guys are going to, option the script and buy it from me and get it produced at Legendary, cool. So I signed an option with these guys. Now here's a lesson. Okay, so first of all, an option is when a producer, could be anybody, but generally someone looking to produce a script, they're going to give you X amount of money let's just say for the sake of discussion, $1,000. To basically reserve the right to shop your script for X amount of time. Let's just say a year. Now, if I remember right, I think mine was $2,000 for 18 months. I don't exactly remember, but it was something like that. So you get the idea. So basically you sign the option, and then you can't sell your script to anyone else. Those people have the right to get it into production. So they basically have that window. In my case, it was 18 months. So production has to start within that window, or the rights will automatically revert back to you. Now, negotiating that option was a nightmare, okay? They were so difficult, they nitpicked, and I'm like, we're talking about like $2,000, 18 months or 24 months and details, okay? So we finally signed the option, and I showed up to the signing. Like I went to them to actually sign it in person. And we sat down to sign it, and then they tried to pull the rug out from under me at the last minute, like, oh, we want to change the terms. I think they wanted to give me less money. And we're talking about like $2,000. And I just got up and left. I was like, no, this is off, dude. I was like, I don't want to work with you guys anymore. So I got up and I walked out, and they ended up chasing me down the sidewalk, down the lot. And they're like, okay. We'll do it. We'll agree. It was already agreed. And it's like, okay, we'll do it as we agreed. It's already written up, blah, blah, blah. So we signed the option, and then I started working with them. And I think any writer would tell you that they have a pretty specific working method, okay? And it's not going to be the same for every writer, but I think it's going to be specific for every writer. For example, I know some writers who are going to write 2 to 3 hours every morning, maybe 2 to 3 hours every night, and they're going to write every day. Okay, I don't write like that. I write I don't even get into what I call my flow until I hit about 3 hours of work, and then I start to flow. So I basically work 10 to 14 hours a day, every day, until it's done, maybe with 1 out of 7 days off. Dishes pile up, laundry piles up, mail piles up, like nothing gets touched. My place turns into a disaster zone, and like I don't touch anything but that script. And as I go along, whenever I start a new day, like let's say today I wrote 7 pages, okay? Tomorrow, when I start, I'm gonna start by rereading those 7 pages. So let's say I'm close to the end and I've got 80 pages. When I sit down to start that day of writing, I'm gonna read those 80 pages and then start writing. So I sort of go in a cave, I go into that universe of the thing, and I don't come out of it. So I started working on the rewrite for these guys. They wanted a rewrite. So I started working on the rewrite, and I basically gave them a quarter of the script, which was about, I think it's actually 88 pages, but they wanted a little longer. So let's call it 100 pages. I gave them about 25 pages, a quarter of the script. It took me a couple of weeks, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks maybe. I give them pages, and then it's like, I'm in it. Like I'm in the cave, right? I'm in the universe, and I give them the thing, and it's like, I want feedback. It's like, now that I'm going to hand it off, I'm basically going to take my day off, and then so I can come back the following day and jump back in the cave and start again. So I gave them the pages, and it took 3 weeks for them to give me feedback. And I was twisting them. I was calling them all the time. Where are the notes? Where are the notes? Where are the notes? What's going on? Where are you? Why aren't you calling me back? What's going on? Why don't I heard from you? So I finally met with them in person. We had a meeting. We talked about the notes. So I go away. And once again, I wrote the next quarter of the screenplay in 2 or 3 weeks. So let's say I'm a month and a half into rewrites working with these guys. I give them the next quarter of the script, and it's the same thing again. Where are you? Where are the notes? What's going on? Why haven't I heard from you? And I never heard from them again for a long time. Basically until a week before the option was going to run out. They called me up and they're like, yo, man, where's the script? And I was like, well, yeah, I gave you 25 pages like 16 months ago and I'm still waiting for the notes. So there's nothing else. And they're like, well, you owe us pages. And I was like, look, here's my attorney's phone number and here's my accountant's phone number. You can talk to them about it. And so I never heard from them again. A week later, the option expired. It reverted back to me, and we went our separate ways. Now, my point is that if you're in choppy waters or you're on a bumpy road in the early going of your collaboration, it's not only not going to get better, it's going to get worse. Like, I thought I was in hell with negotiating an option over a couple of $1,000. And I was like, sigh of relief, finally done. Now we're gonna start working, it's gonna be smooth. Wrong. It was even worse working with those dudes, okay? So that's the warning. If in the early going of collaboration, when it should be smooth sailing, when there's nothing urgent going on, you're not in the trenches of production, you don't have producers and financiers breathing down your neck about your schedule and your budget and stay on time and stay on budget and where's our daily, you know, it's like, cause then you get in the zone, right? And it's like, we get in the zone, people start getting snippy with each other. Everybody wants to go fast, and like, you gotta be working with people that are cool to work with. So like, it's not gonna get better. If you've gotta see the red flag, like if it is a pain in the butt in the early going, it's gonna get worse and it's gonna be a nightmare. So you should be thinking to yourself in the early going, it's like, hey, this part of the process shouldn't involve pulling anyone's teeth, twisting anybody's arm, and just be alerted, it's gonna get rougher. So Legendary turns out, so this was around, I wanna say around 2008. So Legendary actually did make a green screen Western. I don't think it involved these guys. So maybe there were other teams trying to put that concept together. So what Legendary ended up releasing was a movie called Jonah Hex, which was a green screen. And that movie, if I'm not mistaken, was the biggest box office bomb that year it came out. I think it was 2009. And I was so relieved. I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that A, I didn't let you make a green screen Western out of my script and screw it up. And B, I'm glad that my script didn't end up being the biggest box office bomb of a year. So I was thrilled and relieved that entire thing just fell apart. Okay, so I want to jump in. That's about it. That's about all I want to do talking about screenplay. So, I will say this. I did at one point contact Clint Eastwood's manager, a gentleman named Leonard Hershan. I remember having a conversation with him. He's probably passed on by now. This is a little while ago. I believe that I came across him having passed at some point. So I talked to him and he's like, why would you call the script East Clintwood? He's like, you will never get a movie called East Clintwood made. It will never be made. Like, he was offended that I would title that. And I was like, well, you should actually be kind of like, that's cool. It's a homage to Clint Eastwood or whatever. He didn't dig it at all. And he actually asked me if it was a comedy. Like, he thought I was going to be spoofing Clint Eastwood, and it's not. It's a very violent, gnarly, gory, super, super bloody, violent Western. Okay. Not a comedy at all. So anyway, that didn't fly. And so the only thing I want to say about this script, I read this script I reread it not too long ago, and there's a part in the early going where there's a dude beating another guy. And it's not really torture. It's just he's beating this guy up. And it's not that it's too aggressive, because that's basically what I'm going for. It just goes on a little bit too long. I was like, okay, I got carried away with this part. And it's the one guy beating the other guy, it just kind of goes on a little bit too long. So I'm not going to stop and point that out when I get to it. Just if it seems like this beating is going on a little bit long, I know that. And so yeah, I'm not sure exactly. So here's the script right here. I'm going to read it on paper. You can see this has all kind of notes on it. Got stuff redacted. There's notes on the page. And so I did write of my own accord, nothing to do with those rewrites. I did write like a tacked on beginning sequence. And I'm not going to include that in what I read because it's not really the true beginning. It's sort of like the backstory in one sequence, and I never felt like it was needed. Although I do like those pages, I don't think they serve the script. So I'm not going to include those. So I'm going to start by reading out character names. When I come to the characters, I'm going to read out the character names before they speak. And if that starts to seem tedious, I'm just going to stop doing that and hope that you can follow as the characters are talking without saying their name each time. So I'm going to feel that out as I go. Okay. So, and it's about I want to say it's about 88 pages. So maybe an hour and a half. It'll probably read a little quicker than that. Oh, and there's an alternate title, because I recognized in the early going that I could possibly run into opposition to calling it East Clintwood. So my alternate title is East Clintwood or The Lone Rider Wears Black. Exterior. Okay, sorry. Exterior. Crackling. The corpse of a woman cradling the corpse of an infant girl lies dead on the ground in the dirt. Thick black smoke and flames rise from their bodies and whip in the wind. Nearby, the corpse of a young girl lies burning. Nearby, the corpse of a teenage girl lies burning. Not far from them stands a splendid house and garden half eaten by flame, which rise with thick black smoke into the clear blue sky above. In the distance, a road runs through the silhouette of a town, centered on the horizon. Flames and smoke rise from the town into the clear blue sky above. Closer up, crackling, the town burns with ravenous fire, half eaten to the ground with fire and bursting with thick black smoke as the wood of its structure burns. The saloon, the hotel, the bank, the barber shop, the store, the post, everything. The sign above the sheriff's station falls to the ground in flames. Scattered corpses of children at play burn with flames and thick black smoke. The town folk and animals alike lie dead in the street burning. Dogs, horses, men, women, and children. In the distance, from the other side of town, thick black smoke and flames burst forth into the calm, clear blue summer sky in silence. Somehow, all seems peaceful. Exterior, desert, day. In the distance, the silhouette of a lone rider on horseback gallops through the desert, kicking up dust in its wake. Closer up, the majestic hooves of a wild Mustang pound the sand at a furious pace. Its legs churn, its muscles ripple, its black coat glistens in the sun. Splendid black cowboy boots with chrome spurs covered in soot and blood press against the stirrups. The lone rider wears black. His face is concealed by the brim and shadow of his cowboy hat. The sun gleams gold in the distance, just below the brim of his hat in the clear blue summer sky. Exterior, city, town, day. The lone rider's horse struts slowly and majestically into the town, down the center of the main road. Townspeople going about their business stop and look at the stranger, his face concealed by the brim and shadow of his cowboy hat. He rides to the front of the saloon and stops his horse. The Mustang's feet kick up a small cloud of dust. The lone rider's foot slides out of one of the stirrups. His leg swings over the horse. His feet hit the ground together in a small cloud of dust. His blood and soot-covered hands tie the horse's reins to a post. His hand reaches a cube of sugar to the mouth of his horse. The horse takes it in his mouth. His nostrils flare with pleasure and burst with a sigh. His eyes glisten with the reflection of the town and entire horizon around. The lone rider speaks with a deep, calm, gravelly voice. Attaboy. Jack. Attaboy. His hands engulf the horse's snout with affection and slides away. His spurs jingle and his boots climb the steps in front of the saloon. He places his hand in the center of the two swiveling doors on the saloon and pushes them both open together. He disappears inside. Interior, city saloon. That moment. The saloon bustles with cards, drink, and women. Jack's hand grabs the edge of a stool and pulls it away from the bar. He sits down and pulls himself into the bar. Up closer, Jack is caked with grime, soot, and blood. The bartender appears in front of Jack, between him and a large mirrored wall shelving numerous bottles of liquor. Bartender number 1. Howdy, partner. Jack, howdy. What'll it be? What's the most expensive whiskey you got in this place? The bartender turns around and removes a bottle from the shelf directly behind him. He turns back to Jack with it. That would be this one right here. Well, I'll have one of those, please. The bartender flips a shot glass onto the bar in front of Jack and opens the bottle. Make it a double. Bartender number 1, my pleasure. The bartender fills the glass. Jack's filth and blood-covered hand wraps around the glass. He slams the shot and places it back on the bar. The bartender gestures to pour another. No, thank you. That will do just fine. It's the company of women I'm looking for. Bartender number 1, I think I can accommodate. Women, you say? Yes, sir. 2, and then maybe some cards. Jack flips a coin onto the bar. It rolls around and lands facing heads up. That's for the drink. Keep the change. Much obliged. What'd you say your name was, stranger? Jack. I didn't say. Now, about those women. Interior, Dixie's room upstairs. Jack sits in a white porcelain bathtub full of dirty, soapy water, and his arms rest on the sides of the tub, a burning cigar clenched in his teeth. Dixie and Trixie sit on the stools on either side of the tub in plain white lingerie, rubbing Jack with sponges. Dixie puts her sponge down. Dixie. There. All done. Trixie sponges Jack off some more and puts her sponge down. Trixie. Now how about a little poke? Jack, no thank you, ladies. I think I'll just enjoy the hot water. Jack pulls on the cigar, takes it from his teeth and exhales. Jack and my smoke. Jack tweaks his eyebrows and clenches the cigar in his teeth, grinning. Much obliged, though. Dixie, what do you mean you don't want to poke? My girl's waiting for me back on the ranch. Your girl's waiting for you back on the ranch? Yes, ma'am. I never heard a bigger bunch of bull. You don't seem like you got a ranch nowhere, mister. You don't seem like you got a girl waiting for you nowheres either. You're putting us on. Nope. We'll make it worth your while. 2 for 1. It's mighty tempting. No? Sorry, girls. Well, you just don't know what you're missing, mister, 'cause we're the purtiest 2 girls on this side of the desert. I'm sure you are. I'm only missing one tooth. That's funny because I'm missing a tooth. Trixie grins. Dixie, I'm only missing two. Trixie, we'll show you the time of your life. Jack, I'm sure you would. Dixie, we'll wear you out. You're doing that already. You know what I think, Dixie? What's that? I bet he likes boys. I bet you're right. Not at all. I'm quite enjoying the pleasant company. Pleasant company? You know, window shopping and all. Window shopping? That all you want to do is window shop, mister? You know what I think, Trixie? Trixie, what's that? Dixie, I bet he's got a teeny little pecker. Trixie, I bet you're right. And I bet he can't get it up neither. I bet you're right. Jack, now girls, you really shouldn't beg like that. It isn't becoming. Jack plucks the cigar from his mouth, douses it in the tub, and disposes of it in an ashtray on a nearby stool. He presses his hands against the sides of the tub and pushes himself up into a standing position directly between them. Dixie and Trixie look at each other, their eyes widen. They look up at Jack. He grins. Now that we've put that to rest, I think it's time for a little cards. Downstairs, Jack sits at a table with 4 other men, 2 young and 2 middle-aged. They play a hand of poker. There is a large pot on the table. They all look around at each other. It's tense. Gambler number 2, I'll take 1. Gambler 2 puts a card on the table. Gambler 1 deals him a card. Gambler number 3, 2. Gambler 3 puts 2 cards on the table. Gambler 1 deals him 2 cards. Gambler number 4, 3. Gambler number 4 puts 3 cards on the table. Gambler 1 deals him 3 cards. An ace of spades slides out of Jack's sleeve into his hand. He looks around the table and grins. I'm just fine. Gambler 1, I'll take 1. Gambler 1 puts a card down and takes 1 for himself. Gambler 2 throws his cards in face down. Gambler 2, I'm out. Gambler 3 puts $10 in. Gambler number 3, $10. Gambler 4 puts $35 in. I'll see your 10 and raise you 25. Jack puts $50 in. I'll see that and raise you 15. That makes it an even 50. Gambler number 1 puts $100 in. What do you say we make it an even 100? Gambler 3 throws his cards in face down. Geez, it's getting mean. That does it for me. Gambler 4 puts $65 more in. I think I'll have to see that 100. Jack puts $50 more in. Me too. Gambler 1 fans his hand out on the table. It's a club flush. Mostly high cards. Flush. Gambler 4 fans his cards out on the table. All 3 aces except the ace of spades and 2 fours. Full house, aces over 4s. Funny thing that, how's that? Because I got the ace of spades. Ace of spades don't do you no good. Jack, but it sure do look purty next to the 10, Jack, Queen, and King. Jack fans his cards out on the table and grins. That's 10 hands in a row. Guess I must just be lucky. Gambler number 4, lucky hell. I can't say how, but I think you've been cheating, mister. Gambler number 1, I think so too. Gambler number 2, I'd have to agree. Gambler number 3, likewise. Jack, well, boys, them is fighting words. I hope you're better with guns than you are at cards. They all go for their guns. Jack draws 2 guns, extends his arm out straight, shoots the 2 gamblers across from him, extends his arms out wide, and shoots the 2 on either side of him. Blood splatters out of their chest. None of the other men even touch their guns. Jack spins his guns back into their holster. The 4 gamblers fall back in their chairs and drop to the ground. The whole saloon goes dead quiet. Jack stands up. He flips the table over on the gamblers. The young one gasps as it crunches down on him. Jack stands over him and spins one of his guns out of its holster. Well, looky, looky. First shot didn't kill you. I'm getting rusty in my old age. What's your name, mister? Jack. CLINTWOOD Jack. Bang! Jack shoots a hole in the center of Gambler 3's head. Jack, loud. Clintwood Jack is my name. And everybody here witness to this, remember that name, because there'll be one come looking. And when he does, you tell him it was Clintwood Jack that done this. Clintwood Jack and no other. Jack spins his gun back into the holster and strides across the saloon toward the front door. The bartender pulls a shotgun up from under the bar. Before he can raise it, Jack spins one of his guns out and trains it dead center on the bartender's forehead. The bartender swallows hard. Jack, duck. The bartender disappears behind the bar. Jack shoots a bullet straight through the expensive bottle of whiskey behind the bar. Behind the bartender, behind him. It shatters the bottle and cracks the mirror behind the bar. The front doors of the saloon swing shut. Exterior, city saloon, that moment. Jack's hands untie the horse's reins from the post. His foot slips into one of the stirrups. His leg swings over the horse. His other foot slides into the other stirrup. Jack pulls the reins to one side. Hi-yah! The horse turns promptly and strides out of town, straight down the middle of the main street. The townspeople going about their business stop and watch as he gallops into the distance past the edge of town. Exterior, desert, later that day. In the distance, the silhouette of 4 riders on horses gallop through the desert. The front 3 ride in a tight cluster, the 4th rides slightly behind the rest. Up closer, the hooves of the lead horse pound the sand. Ned rides the horse. His eyes are full of rage and welling with tears. Close behind Ned rides his 16-year-old son Ed, his 13-year-old son Ted, and lagging behind the rest and struggling to keep up on a smaller horse rides Ned's 10-year-old and most freckly son with bright red hair, Red. Exterior, city town, later that day. Ned and his boys ride into the town and the main street. The townspeople around stop and look at the strangers. Ned and his boys stop in front of the saloon. Ned's foot slides out of a stirrup. His leg swings over the back of his horse. His feet hit the ground in a small cloud of dust. He ties his horse's reins to a post. His boys do the same. Ned looks around. The sun gleams fat and gold in the clear blue summer sky. Ned, all right, boys, I'm going to go inside. You boys stay right here. If anyone sets foot outside this here saloon before I do, you shoot 'em dead on sight, you understand? Ed, Ted, and Red. Nobody gets away. Ned, good boys. Ned's boot climbs the steps of the saloon. He places his hand in the center of the 2 swiveling doors of the saloon and pushes them open together. He disappears inside. Ed looks at his 2 little brothers. Ed, you 2 stay right here. Ted, where are you going? Ed, I'm going around back. Now I want the 2 of you to stay put. But Pa said, Pa's inside. When Pa ain't around, I'm in charge. Now you gonna stay put or what? Ted, all right. Ed hurries up the steps and disappears around the corner of the saloon. Ted and Red look at each other. Interior, city saloon, that moment. 2 men carry the last of the dead gamblers out the back. A few people drink and play cards. Ned walks up to the bar. The bartender removes a bottle of whiskey from beneath the front of the bar and places it on the bar. He removes a brand new bottle of the expensive whiskey from beneath the front of the bar, turns around and places it on the shelf in front of the mirror where the other bottle was. Ned's hand grabs one of the bar stools and slides it out of his way. He steps up to the bar. The bartender turns around. Bartender number 1, howdy, partner. Ned, howdy. What'll it be? I'm looking for a man. Bartender number 1, Clintwood Jack. Clintwood Jack's his name. In the blink of an eye, Ned spins a gun out of his holster and points it at the center of the bartender's head. Lie to me again, barmaid. Go ahead. Make my day. The bartender swallows hard. The lone rider, dressed in black. He said his name were Clintwood Jack. Bang! Ned shoots a hole through the bartender's head. Blood splatters everywhere. The bullet passes through the bartender's head and shatters the brand new bottle of expensive whiskey on the shelf. directly behind the bartender, makes a second hole in the mirror and cracks it even more. The bartender drops to the floor behind the bar. The barrels of 2 shotguns appear behind Ned's head. The guns cock. 2 deputies stand behind Ned with their arms extended, holding their guns out. Deputy number 1. Put your gun down and put your hands flat on the bar. Ned slowly puts his gun down and his hands flat on the bar. Deputy 1 reaches around Ned, picks up Ned's gun and sticks it in his own holster. Deputy 2 removes Ned's other gun from its holster and puts it in his own holster. All right, mister. Now turn around nice and slow. Ned starts to turn. His hand wraps around the neck of the whiskey bottle on the bar. He whips around and smashes the bottle backhand across Deputy 2's face. Deputy 2 bumps Deputy 1. Deputy 1 fires a round into the mirror. Deputy 2 drops to the ground cold. Ned grabs Deputy 1 and wedges the broken bottle into his neck. Blood squirts everywhere. Deputy 1 chokes on his blood. Ned lets go of him and slides his gun out of the deputy's holster as the deputy thuds to the ground, dead. Ned kneels over Deputy 2. He removes his other gun from the deputy's holster and puts it back in his own. Ned grabs him by the hair and bangs his head on the floor. He comes to. Where's the sheriff? Deputy 2. Running errands. He left town this morning. Ned sticks the barrel of his gun under Deputy 2's neck, squeezes the trigger, and splatters his brains all over the place. Ned stands up and spins his gun into its holster. Now is someone going to tell me who owns this place, or I'm going to have to get rough? Exterior, city saloon, that moment. Ed stands on a second floor deck, peering through a window. He knocks. He waves someone inside over to the window. Dixie appears, looks at Ed up and down and opens the window. Dixie, how old are you? Ed, old enough. You ever done it before? Yeah. She gives him a disbelieving look. I done it a few times with little Molly Hutchins. Little Molly Hutchins, huh? You got some money? I got a little money. Well, you are just about as cute as a button. You better get yourself in here then. Just as he starts to step through the window, Trixie appears and stands in his way. You can't be serious. Why not? You're still hot over that other fella. So, he's cute. Look at him. Ed, I got the money and I done it before. Trixie, oh, he is cute, isn't he? I think this one is mine. Dixie, oh no, I seen him first. Look who's still hot over that other fella. Come on, get yourself in here before the vultures circle. Interior, Dixie's room a few moments later. Ed lies on Dixie's bed. She's straddling on top of him. Her dress covers most of her body. Her top is pulled down, exposing her breasts. She bounces up and down. Outside Dixie's window, Ted and Red stand outside looking in. Ted's eyes are wide with desire. Red's are wide with fear. Red. Holy shit, Ted. What she's doing to him? You better get in there and help him. Ted, guess I better. Inside, Ted lies on another bed. Trixie straddles on top of him. Her dress covers most of her body. Her top is pulled down, exposing her breasts. She bounces up and down. Outside Dixie's window. Red stands outside the window looking in. His eyes are about to pop out of his head. He turns to leave and spins in a circle and returns to the window, almost pulling his hair out. Red. Holy shit, I ain't going in there. Exterior, city saloon a little later. The doors of the saloon burst open. Gus, the saloon owner, flies through the door head first and down the front steps, landing in a heap in the dirt on the street. Ned walks through the doors as they swing shut behind him. He looks around. Boys! Red runs out from the side of the saloon. Right here, Pa. Where are your brothers? Ted runs out from the side of the saloon. Right here, Pa. And the other? Ed casually walks out, tucking himself in. Right here, Pa. Thought I told you boys to stay right here and watch the door. Had to take a whiz, Pa. All three of you? Gus rolls over, pulls a gun and points it at Ned. Ned spins a gun out and shoots Gus's gun out of his hand. Ah! I'm getting to you, mister. Come on, boys. Ned spins his gun back into its holster. Ned's boots step down the salon steps. His hand reaches for Gus's head, grabs a handful of his hair and pulls him to his feet and drags him across the street. The three boys jump down the saloon steps into the street. The townspeople stop what they are doing and watch as Ned disappears into the blacksmith's across the street with Gus. The three boys assemble in a circle in the middle of the main street with their backs facing in. The deputies hurry out of the sheriff's station. Ed spins a gun out of his holster and fires around. A bullet zips between the deputies, stopping them in their tracks before they can even descend the steps in front of the sheriff's station. They both place their hands on their guns. Ed, don't even think about it, fella. We might be little, but we're quicker than greased lightning. Now you get your hand off of them guns unless you want to get them blowed off. Show them, Red. Ed holsters his gun. Red steps out of the circle and faces the deputies. He spins both of his guns out and fires them. Bullets snap the chains holding the sheriff's sign above the deputies' heads. The sheriff's sign falls and bangs them on their heads as it tumbles to the ground. Red spins his gun back into their holsters and steps back into his place in the circle. Ed, 10 years old, that one. Y'all didn't even draw. And he's the slowest one of the lot. Red, I'm not. Ed, you're too, Red. Now hush. Interior blacksmiths, that moment. A rope binds Gus's wrists together and to the back of a chair he sits in. Sweat runs down his face. He looks on in terror. A brand glows red in a furnace. Ned turns it to keep it even. Let's try this at Ned. Let's try this again. Gus, I done told you already. Ned, I know what you done told me. Now I might not know the truth, but I know what ain't. Now why don't you just tell me the truth? Gus, I am telling the truth. That fella came through and shot up my place and he said there would be someone come looking for him. He said to tell you that his name, Gus swallows hard, is CLINTWOOD Jack and no other. Them's the exact words he used. Ned grabs Sam by the shirt and rips the front of his shirt open, exposing his chest. You got him hid somewhere, don't you? No, I swear. He ain't hidden nowhere. No one's got him hid. After that, he rode right out of town, nice and slow. Ned turns and removes the glowing brand from the furnace and stares at it as he turns back to Gus. No, please, mister, don't. I'm telling you the truth. I swear it. Don't. Please. You sure about that? I'm positive. There's no mistaking it. Ned lunges forward with the brand, pressing it hard into Sam's chest. Smoke rises from his flesh as it sizzles. Ah! The two front legs of the chair lift. The chair tips back. Ned presses the brand harder, flipping Gus onto the ground and crunching his hands beneath the chair. Ah! Ned climbs over the chair, straddles Sam, and kneels down on top of him, pressing the brand into his chest. Smoke continues to rise from his flesh as it sizzles. Ned, stops hurting after a while, don't it? That's 'cause all the nerves go dead. Shh. See that? Can't even feel it no more, can you? Can you? Gus shakes his head. Gus. No! Ned pulls the brand away. That's when I know I gotta move it to another spot. Ned stands up, steps back over Gus in the chair, returns the brand to the furnace, and turns back to Gus. I know you think that hurts, but it ain't no real kind of pain. Not like what the Redskins will do to you. Stick the claws of an eagle in your chest, string you up by 'em, spin you around, let you hang for a while. It'd kill most men. So I'm just going to interject right here because I mentioned homage earlier. So there's also homage to another movie that's got nothing to do really with Clint Eastwood called A Man Called Horse, starring Richard Harris in the lead role. And this, what Ned just described about being hung up with eagle's claws stuck through your chest muscles and they string you up by it. That's what they do to the Richard Harris character in A Man Called Horse. And it's basically a ritual that allows him to become like one of their tribe. I think he's already one of their tribe, but it's like he becomes one of the warriors, like the warrior class, basically. It's an initiation rite. So I also want to say this is, and you're gonna see this later. There's a flashback to it being done to Ned. And so Richard Harris, Clint Eastwood is familiar with this because Richard Harris is the guy who plays English Bob in Unforgiven. So Clint Eastwood has actually given a nod to A Man Called Horse. So, and I love that movie. My mom liked Richard Harris a lot. And so I saw that movie when I was little. I was aware of it. I knew who Richard Harris was. I knew that movie when Unforgiven came out. I was like, oh, it's A Man Called Horse, English Bob. So this is intended homage to Unforgiven with Richard Harris and also A Man Called Horse with Richard Harris. So this is, I'm not trying to steal that. It's specifically intended to homage, to nod to those other movies. Okay, back to it, sorry. Ned turns and removes the brand from the furnace. No, I told you the truth. I'm telling the truth. Oh, so you're a real tough son of a bitch. Or just more scared of that other feller than you are of me. Now that I can do something about. Too bad I don't have a few engines to help me string you up. No, please don't. I don't know anything else. He isn't hiding anywhere. He rode out of town. After he told you his name was CLINTWOOD Jack. That's right. Ned holds the brand close to Sam's face. You want me to put this in your face? No, please don't. Ned presses the brand against his face ever so slightly, just enough for it to sizzle a tiny bit. No, I didn't do it yet. All right, now one more time. He said his name was CLINTWOOD Jack. Gus, that's what he said. I swear it, mister. Please don't burn me. Ned pulls the brand away. Nah, I ain't gonna burn you no more. I got a better idea. Exterior, city town, a few moments later. Gus's head bangs the blacksmith's door open as Ned pushes him into the street from behind with his gun drawn. A large group of townspeople have gathered in the street. The three boys are still formed in a circle with their backs facing in and hands ready on their guns. Ned marches Gus into the middle of the street near his sons, and Ned forces him onto his knees. He aims his gun at Gus's head. I want to know who the man was that rode into this here town and shot up that there saloon. I want to know where you got him hid. Now, if nobody don't tell me, I'm going to shoot this here fella dead. Now, all you got to do is tell me the man's name and tell me where he is. The townspeople. CLINTWOOD Jack. He said his name was CLINTWOOD Jack. He's CLINTWOOD Jack. It was CLINTWOOD Jack. And he rode out of town that-a-way. Ned. Damn it! Don't none of y'all care about this fella enough to spare his life? Ned cocks his pistol. Just tell me one thing, mister. Gus. Just tell me one thing, mister. Ned, what's that? Gus. How come you're so sure it ain't CLINTWOOD Jack? Ned's finger squeezes the trigger. Townie. No, wait! The townie runs up to Ned and Gus. Ned stops. His finger relaxes on the trigger. Townie. The lone rider tied his horse right there. The townie points to where Jack tied his horse. See, right there. He rode a horse. Townie. See? Right there. He rode a horse with no shoes. And the tracks leave town right there in that direction. See? The townie points along the tracks and follows them with his finger out of town to the horizon. His eyes widen. Townie, look! There he is. A silhouette of Jack on his horse stands far in the distance on the horizon, up closer. Jack squints in the beaming sun and stares towards the town. He spins a gun out of his holster and pulls back on his horse's reins. Hi-yah! His horse stands up on its hind legs. Jack raises his gun into the air and fires 3 rounds. 3 small bursts of smoke drift away in the breeze. From the town, Jack and his horse stand tall on the horizon. 3 more gunshots ring out across the vast divide. The horse lowers onto all fours and disappears over the horizon. Ned spins his gun back into its holster and looks at Gus. Must be your lucky day, partner. Saddle up, boys. Ned's hands untie his horse. His horse's reins from the post. His boot slides into his stirrups. His legs swing over the horse and he settles into his saddle. He jerks the reins to the side. The horse jerks to the side. Ned rides his horse toward the edge of town. Ed, Ted, and Red follow close behind on their horses. Red, beat up by a couple of girls. Ned looks back at the boys. What's Ned? What's this? Ed, would you shut up? Ted, yeah, shut up, Red. Ed, ain't nothing, Pa. Red, I know what I seen. Exterior, desert town, that night. The saloon doors swing open. Jack walks out. The doors swing behind him. He walks to where his horse is tied and stops. He looks back down the main street to the far end of town. His hands untie his horse's reins. His boots slip into a stirrup. His boot slips into a stirrup. His legs swing over his horse. He pulls the reins to the side. His horse jerks away. Jack, hi-ya! The horse's shoeless feet kick up sand as it walks out the near end of the town, disappearing into the desert night. On the other side of town, Ned, Ed, Ted, and Red emerge from the darkness into the town on their horses, following Jack's tracks to the hotel. They stop their horses in front of the hotel and dismount. Ed notices Jack's tracks leading to the saloon and out of town. Look, Pa, the tracks go right out of town. He can't stay here tonight. He knows that. He knows we'd find him here, but he won't go far. He won't cross the desert at night. He'll wait till the morning. He'll camp out in the outskirts of town somewhere tonight. Come on, boys. Ned leads the boys up the hotel steps. Interior, desert hotel, that moment. Ned and the boys walk into the lobby. Roy stands behind the front desk as if awaiting someone. Roy, good evening, gentlemen. Ned, howdy. I'd like to get a room, please. Certainly. Both of your rooms have already been arranged. Ned, come again? Roy, your rooms have already been taken care of, sir. 2 of them. Ned, is that a fact? Yes, sir, that's a fact. And who? Why, Mr. CLINTWOOD, sir. Ned spins a gun out and holds it to Roy's head. Mr. CLINTWOOD is dead. Roy, I would certainly appreciate if you don't shoot me, but I beg to differ, sir. Mr. CLINTWOOD came through not more than an hour ago and paid for you to have 2 rooms to divide however you see fit. He said they were for the man with the 3 charming little boys. I assume he was referring to you. Ned, yeah. Roy, is that surprising, sir? Ned, a little, yeah. Don't you know him, sir? Ned, kinda, sorta. Well, would you like the rooms then? Is he here? He didn't take a room for himself. Ned spins his gun back into its holster. All right, we'll play along. Yeah, we'll take the room, just 1 room. Pa, hush, that's enough out of you. Just 1 room, and I'm going to pay for it myself. I'm sorry, sir, the room is already paid for. Well, then I'll just pay for it again. I'm sorry, sir, I can't accept your money. Come again? Your money is no good here, sir. Ned takes out a few dollars and puts them on the counter. Ned, well, I'm just going to leave it here anyways, and if you try to tell me any different, I'm going to put this here bullet in your head right where it belongs. Or maybe I'll let one of my charming little boys do it for me. Roy, of course, sir. Roy turns around, takes a key off a rack, and hands it to Ned. Here you are, best room in the place. Up the stairs, first door on your right. Interior, desert saloon, a little later. Ned hands part the front door as he walks in. The doors swing behind him. The saloon is quiet. A few people drinking and one table of card players. Ned appears at the bar next to Bill and Will. Bartender number 2. Howdy, partner. Ned, howdy. What can I do for you? Is there someone around who could fix the saddle for me so it's ready to ride in the morning? Bill, well, you come to the right place, partner, because that fella's me. I reckon I could have you on your way by sunup. Well, I'd be much obliged. My pleasure. I don't suppose you run the store as well, do you? Need to stock up on a few things. Will, you sure don't. I own the store. Today must be your lucky day, partner. I'll open up and let you get what you need tonight if you want. Ned, much obliged. Will, my pleasure. Bill and Will gulp down their beers. Bill, why don't you just have a drink and give us a few minutes to open up? Just come on when you're ready. They head out of the saloon. Ned looks at the bartender. Make it a whiskey. The bartender flips a shot glass onto the bar and pours it full of whiskey. He puts the bottle on the bar. Ned, what's the damage? Bartender number 2. No, sir. That there is already paid for. Compliments of CLINTWOOD Jack. Ned looks at the bartender a little spooked. He turns and walks away without touching the shot. The bartender slams it. Interior, desert, leatherworks. A little later. The door rings a bell. The door rings a bell swinging open. Ned walks in and puts a saddle on the counter in front of Bill. Ned, it's the left stirrup right there. Bill looks it over. Yep. Won't last till lunchtime. Don't want to do any serious riding like that. I can have it fixed by sunup. Ned, you sure? Bill, yep, yes, sir. No problem at all. Ned, I really appreciate it. Bill, don't worry about it. You ain't more than a couple hours of work. It ain't more than a couple hours of work. You just get yourself a good night's sleep. I'll be ready for it. It'll be ready for you in the morning. Ned, should I just take care of it right now? Oh, no, sir. It's already taken care of. Say what? That's right. There's no charge. It's already paid for. Well, why don't I just pay for it anyways? Bill, I'm sorry I can't take your money. Ned, well, I need this here saddle, and I am to pay for it myself. I'll be back for it in the morning. I'd suggest you have a price for me. Night now. The door rings the bell as Ned walks out. Interior, general merchandise, a little later. Ned stands at the counter in front of Will. 2 canteens rest on the countertop. Ned holds a fold of cash in his hand. How much does it come to? Will, compliments of CLINTWOOD Jack, sir. Ned, are you kidding me? Will, no, sir, bought and paid for. Ned, well, I'd just like to pay for it myself if it's all the same. Will, I'm afraid I can't take your money. You trying to tell me my money's no good? No. Yes, your money is no good around these parts, stranger. Now you're being downright rude. Some folks might not take a liking to that. Will, you're turning down thoughtfully purchased items and service. Some folks might not take a liking to that, partner. Ned, how much? No charge. Ned spins his gun out and centers the barrel on Will's head. How much? Do what you will, fella. I already done told you, ain't a person in this town will take a red cent from you. Ned stares at him. Will stares back, real calm. Interior, desert hotel room, a little later. Ed, Ted, and Red are jumping on one of the beds and whacking each other with pillows. The door bursts open. One of the pillows bursts. Feathers fly everywhere. Ned stands in the doorway. Get your stuff, boys. We ain't staying. Ed, what's the matter, Pa? Get your stuff together. Get your stuff together and let's go. We're not staying here because something ain't right. Now let's go. Red, come on, Pa. Ned, no, and that's the end of it. Now get your stuff and let's go. Where are we going to go, Pa? Exterior, desert town, outskirts, later that night. Exterior, desert town, outskirts, later that night. A small bonfire burns. A few charred logs glow red. The fire crackles as sparks fly up into the dark desert night sky. Ned, Ed, Ted, and Red sit around the fire. A few blankets lie around them for sitting on, and a few are draped around them. Their horses are tied to a nearby tree. Ted. It's just like real cowboys and Indians now, ain't it, Pa? Just like you used to do. Ned. Yep. Except there ain't no Indians this time. There's just one guy out there, and we're going to get him, boys. Ed. We're going to get him good, ain't we, Pa? Ned. I reckon. Real good. Yeah, Red. We're going to get him real good. And we're going to give him a proper burial, too. Ted. But not till after we lynch him, right, Pa? Drag him, lynch him, maybe some other stuff no one even thought of yet. Yeah. Because no one ever gets away from you, do they, Pa? Yeah. Ain't that right, Pa? No one ever got away from you, did they? No. Nope. No one ever got away. Flashback. Interior, Jack's house, Clintwood, evening. Jack lies on the floor. Fire crackles around him. Ned's boots stand next to him. Long, thin legs extend upward. A coat hangs down. An arm reaches down, pointing a shiny chrome gun. Bang! A bullet rips through the center of Jack's forehead. End flashback. Exterior, desert town outskirts, that moment. Not even one. Sorry. Desert town outskirts, that moment. Ned. Not even one. But that was a long time ago, boys. I haven't been a lawman for a long time now, but that don't change a thing. This don't got nothing to do with the law. This just got to do with us and him. And you rest assured, boys, we're going to get him. Now you boys get off to sleep, you hear? The journey across the desert is long and treacherous. You're going to need all the rest you can get. Tomorrow you boys are going to become men. Ted. All right, 2 days in a row. Ned, what's that? Ed, would you shut up? Red, yeah, Ted, shut up. Ed, ain't nothing, Pa. Later that night. The dead of night. The stars and moon shine bright in the night sky. Shine bright in the sky. Night creatures chirp. Ned, Ed, Ted, and Red lie sound asleep in their circle. The fire burns small but glows and crackles. Right there, Jack appears out of the darkness on his horse. His horse just stands there. Its eyes glow like a demon with the reflection of the fire. Jack's do too. He stares down at the sleeping bunch with his burning eyes and breathes the cold desert air in and out again. He pulls his horse's reins to one side. The horse slowly turns. The horse's hoofs step through the sand, leaving their prints. The horse walks in a circle around the camp, just big enough to circle the sleeping four. It circles 4 times. A little later, Jack sits in the circle with the sleeping four, his legs crossed Indian style. He sits close to the fire. His eyes glow with the reflection of the fire. Jack's horse stands just outside the circle. Its eyes glow with the reflection of the fire. Jack slides a cigar out of his jacket pocket. He bites the end off and spits it into the fire. He holds the end over the flame until it catches and the flame climbs up the tip. He puts it in his mouth and grips it in his teeth and puffs it until it lights and the cherry glows like his eyes. He calmly and slowly smokes the cigar, blowing the thick white smoke into the desert air. He holds the cigar in his teeth and reaches his hands out to warm them over the fire. Ned jars into consciousness and jerks up into a sitting position. In the blink of an eye, he's sitting up straight with both guns drawn, pointing directly at Jack. Jack is no longer there. His horse is gone. Ned looks around. His chest expands and contracts with breath as his heart beats ferociously within it. His eyes glow red with the reflection of the fire. Ned holsters his gun and lies back down. Fade to dawn. Fade to dawn. The sun peeks over the horizon. The desert lights up in the morning light, the silhouette of the town in the distance. Red lies asleep in the circle. Ted lies asleep in the circle. Ed lies asleep in the circle. Ned lies asleep in the circle. Ned's eyes twitch. He wakes up, sits up, and looks around. A wild boar stands skewered on a rotisserie over the logs. There's a brand new saddle next to Red, a brand new canteen next to each of them, a stack of 4 new blankets by Ned, and the cash Ned left at the hotel under a rock in front of him. He stands up. He sees the circle of shoeless hoofprints around them and the trail from the circle into the desert. Ned is spooked. Boys, it's time to get up, boys. Rise and shine. The boys gradually wake up. It seems we haven't spent the night alone, boys. Come on, let's get our stuff together and go. Red points at the boar with terror in his eyes. What's that? Ned, that's breakfast. Exterior, open desert, later that day. The sun hangs fat and gold in the clear blue sky. A few fluffy white clouds float around. There are mountains perched in the distance. The desert is mostly sand, a few hills and rocks, and the occasional plant life. Otherwise extremely desolate. Ned, Ed, Ted, and Red follow the trail of shoeless hoofprints into the horizon. They follow the trail for a while. They come to a place where the shoeless hoofprints vanish. Ned, whoa! Ned pulls back on his reins and stops his horse. The boys stop their horses. Damn it! Ed, that's impossible. Red, what happened? Ted, the trail just stops. Red, holy cow, how'd he do that? Ted, maybe he walked backwards. Ed, knucklehead, that's impossible too. What do you think happened, Pa? Ned, I don't know. All I can think of is maybe a big sandstorm came through right here. Mighty strange, though. Ed, what are we going to do, Pa? Ned scours the desert for answers. Exterior. Bandit town. That moment. A small lynch mob of 4 bandits wearing cutout pillow sacks over their heads and shooting their guns rides into town, dragging a man in the dirt behind them with his hands behind his back and a gag in his mouth. They drag him to the rickety gallows, get off their horses, and string the man up as several townspeople gather. The noose loops over the man's head and tightens, his eyes wide with fear. Bandit number 1. Is there anyone here who wants this man's life to be spared? The townspeople look around mumbling, but none speak. Bandit number 1. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Bandit 1's hand wraps around the lever. Jack appears on his horse at the far end of town where the bandits came from. The entire town looks towards him. His horse stands still. Bandit number 1. Can we help you, partner? Jack lightly heels his horse and slowly rides towards the mob. Bandit 1. You got business here, stranger? Jack rides close to the gallows and stops. Bandit number 1. Is this man a friend of yours? 'Cause we can string you up with him if you want. Jack spins a gun out, shoots a hole in the center of the man's head, and spins his gun back into its holster. The man dangles dead by the noose before the door opens. Jack, hi-ya! Jack heels his horse hard. His horse bolts away. Bandit number 1, get him, boys! Exterior, bandit town. A few moments later, Jack's horse gallops out the other end of the town and speeds towards a trail through some rocks. The 4 bandits gallop after him on their horses past the edge of town. Jack's horse gallops along the trail through the rocks. The bandits' horses gallop along the trail through the rocks. Jack's horse gallops around a corner and out of the trail through the rocks toward the desert. The bandits gallop around the corner, out of the trail, and into the desert. Jack is no longer ahead of them, and the shoeless hoofprints of his horse disappear at the edge of the desert. Bandit number 1, whoa! The bandits all stop. Bandit number 2, God dang track stop. Bandit pulls off his hood and throws it to the ground. Bandit number 3, where the hell did he go? Bandit number 4 points to the desert. Bandit number 4, over there. Ned and his boys stand in the distance. Bandit 2, what about the tracks? Bandit number 1, hell with the tracks. Hi-ya! Bandit 1 whips his horse's reins and drives the spurs into the beast. The horse bolts to the desert. The others follow. In the distance, the group of bandits rides towards Ned and his boys at a furious pace. A large cloud of dust follows in their wake. Ned and his boys stand at the end of the tracks, puzzled. We got another problem to deal with right now, boys. Over there. The boys look towards the bandits. They grow in size as they get closer. Ned, you see them? Boys, yeah. They're moving quick, and I don't think they're friendly. We need to find some sort of cover. Ed, it looks like it gets a bit rocky by that little hill over there. Ned, all right, that's good. Keep it quick and keep it together and be ready for a shoot 'em up. Let's move. Hi-ya! Ned heels his horse and pulls its reins to the side. The horse turns and bolts away. The boys follow, sticking together. The bandits fire a few rounds. Ned, definitely not friendly. Ned and his boys ride into some rocks over a small hill. The bandits gain on them. Ned and the boys come over the hill into an area that looks like some sort of graveyard. Ned pulls up suddenly. Whoa, boys, whoa! His horse stops. Ed pulls up with his paw. Whoa, whoa! Ted and Red ride into the head markers. Ned, no, boys, stop, stop! Ted and Red pull up. Whoa, whoa! They stand still amid the markers. Ted, come on, what are you stopping for? Come back. Ned, come back. The bandits are getting closer. They fire a few more rounds. Ned looks back at them. There is still a bit of distance. Come here now. Ted, come on, Pa, they're getting closer. Ned, damn it, boys. Ned heels his horse and yanks the reins. His horse turns around and jolts into the area of markers. Ned hurries over to Ted and Red and stops. Ned, you got to do what I tell you. Now, come on. Ned takes Red's horse by its reins and turns his own horse to return. The bandits are almost up on Ed now, with their guns drawn. Ed backs into the field of markers to where Ned is standing with Ted and Red. The bandits ride into the field of markers. Ned, circle the wagons, boys. Ned and the boys quickly form themselves into a semicircle, facing the bandits, and ready themselves to draw. The bandits ride right up to them and stop. The other 3 bandits pull off their hoods. They're an ugly lot, caked in dirt, scruffy clothes, missing teeth. Bandit number 1, well, looky, looky. What do we got here? Bandit number 2, looks like a nice little family picnic to me. Bandit number 3, looks like they got a lot of nice stuff to me. Bandit number 4, I wonder where their mommy is. Flashback. Exterior. Day. Crackling. Thick black smoke and flames burst from the burning corpse of a woman lying in the dirt, cradling the corpse of an infant girl. End flashback. The bandits stare devilishly at Ned and the boys. Ned draws 2 guns. The boys draw instantly. 2 guns each. Bang, 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 bang. Bullets whiz around. One catches a bandit in the chest. Blood splatters out of his chest. One catches a bandit in the head. Blood splatters out of his head. One catches a bandit in the neck. Blood seeps out of his neck and oozes over him. Another catches a bandit in the chest. Blood splatters out of his chest. The shooting stops. The echo of gunfire fades to silence. The bandits drop their guns. The ones with head wounds slide off their horses and thud to the ground. The ones with chest wounds touch their wounds as they sit on their horses. Gradually, their hands slide away and they fall off their horses and thud to the ground. Ed, woo! We got 'em all! Ned, good shooting, boys. Ted, yeah, take that, you sons of bitches. Red holds his hand over his chest. Blood oozes over him. He looks at Ned. Ned looks at him. Red, I think they got me, Pa. Red! Ned jumps off his horse and hurries over to Red. He reaches up to the boy and helps him off his horse. Blood smears all over the two. Red gurgles up blood. Red, I think they shot me, Pa. Ned, oh God, Red, I'm sorry. Ned rests Red on the ground and opens his clothes to expose his wound. Jesus. I'm thirsty, Pa. Give me one of them canteens. Ed tosses his canteen to Ned. Ned catches it and opens it and pours some water in Red's mouth. Red, cold too. I know, son, I know. Tears stream down Ned's face. Ned, drink some more water. Ned gives some more water. Ned gives Red some more water. Did we get them all, Pa? Yeah, Red, we got them all. Red, I got one of them, Pa. Square in the head I did. I killed him good. Ned, you killed him good, son. Yeah. Red slips away. His head tilts back in his father's hand. Ned, nah! Flashback. Interior, Jack's house. Clintwood. Evening. Crackling. The body of a young boy lies burning and bursts with thick black smoke and flames on the dining room floor of a house consumed by fire. End flashback. Red's lifeless eyes stare up at the sky. Ned rests Red on the ground. Tears continue to stream down Ned's face. I love you, Red. I'm sorry. You killed him good, my boy. You killed him good. Ed and Ted look at their father crouching over their brother. The shadow of a lone feather crawls across Ned. The shadow of the feather is attached to the shadow of a head, surrounded by feathers, the body of a man and body of a horse. As the shadow crawls over Ned, he slowly becomes engulfed by the shadow. He looks up. 5 Indian braves stand over Ned on their horses. They wear nothing but loincloths and feathers. Their skin and their horses are heavily painted with war paint. Red, white, yellow, blue, and green. Stars, stripes, suns, moons, circles, spots, and foot and handprints. The leader of the braves has a yellow foot painted on the shoulder of his horse, as well as one slightly off-centered on his chest. On either side of the mark of the yellow foot are 2 sets of thick, parallel, 4-inch long vertical scars. Yellowfoot draws an arrow back in a bow. Ned, no, wait! His hand releases the arrow. It slides away and plunges into the chest of one of the bandit, who gasps his final breath and dies. Blood trickles from his mouth. His head rolls to the side. Ned stands up. Ed, what do we do, Pa? Ned, it's all right, boys. Just stay calm. It's gonna be all right. Yellowfoot, what makes you think so? You have desecrated our sacred burial ground. Ned, I know. I'm sorry. I was trying to get my boys away from these bandits, and they rode into the burial ground by accident. I was trying to stop them, but they didn't know. They didn't know. Yellowfoot. Strong boys. Healthy. Ed. Pa? Ned. Oh no. Please. Yellowfoot. The boys may be forgiven due to their youth, but you must not go unpunished. Ned. I have to look after my boys. Yellowfoot. As for the boys, I thank you. Ned. No. Ned goes for his gun. Before he can draw, Yellowfoot has drawn an arrow in it and has it drawn back in his bow and pointed directly at Ned's chest. Ed jumps off his horse. His shadow flies across the sand. His arms wrap around Yellowfoot. Yellowfoot drops his bow and arrow and slides off his horse. Ed lands on top of him on the ground. Ted jumps off his horse. His shadow flies across the sand. His arms wrap around 3 circles. 3 circles' arms wrap around Ted in return as he catches the boy and laughs calmly. 3 circles. Ed flails on top of Yellowfoot and pounds him with his fists. Yellowfoot quickly restrains the boy, pulls Ed off, and stands up, holding the boy still. Ted's arms flail as he tries to punch 3 circles, but 3 circles simply restrains him. 3 circles. Stars and Stripes, Crazy Moon, and Teardrops slowly dismount their horses. Stars and Stripes bears a similar scar pattern to Yellowfoot on his chest. Stars and Stripes and Crazy Moon take firm hold of Ned by his arms. Yellowfoot hands Ed to Teardrops, who restrains him firmly. Yellowfoot picks up his bow and arrow and draws the arrow back into the bow. He aims it at Ned's chest. Yellowfoot: these are fine boys. Very fine. Stars and Stripes and Crazy Moon force Ned to his knees. Ed and Ted watch, paralyzed in silent horror. Ned: no, wait! Ned wriggles his arm free and rips his shirt open, revealing the mark of the eagle on his chest that Yellowfoot and Stars and Stripes also bear. Flashback. Interior, great teepee, day, silence. Ned dangles from ropes attached to eagle's claws embedded in his chest. The ropes extend up through a hole in the top of the great teepee. Ned is naked except for a loincloth. He spins slowly. The muscles of his chest are pulled far away from his body. His head is tilted back. Blood streams down his body profusely. Sun gleams through the hole in the top of the teepee. End flashback. The Indians look around at each other. Yellowfoot lowers his bow. Yellowfoot: you bear the mark of the eagle, white man. In all my days I have known few white men to bear this mark. I do not know how it is that you came to bear this mark, but I know that you must be a great warrior and a man of great vision. What is your name? Ned: Great Spotted Cat. Yellowfoot: well, Great Spotted Cat, the one from whom none escape, if I am not mistaken. Ned: that's right. Yellowfoot: they even have the spirit of the Great Spotted Cat. Ned removes the knife from the sheath and throws his sheath to the ground. He walks over to the first bandit and kneels down beside him. Ned removes the knife from the sheath and throws the sheath to the ground. He walks over to the first bandit and kneels down beside him. He pulls him up to a sitting position and gets behind him. He takes a handful of the bandit's hair and pulls it away from his scalp. He reaches around the bandit with the knife in his other hand and presses it against the skin of the bandit's forehead. Ed's and Ted's eyes widen with awe. Ned looks up at Yellowfoot. Yellowfoot nods. Ned looks at the bandit and slides the knife under his scalp. Blood oozes out from under the scalp and drips down the bandit's face as the knife slides to the back of his head. Ned pulls the scalp away from the bandit's head. Ed and Ted look on in shock. Ted: whoa. Ned lets go of the bandit. He thuds forward onto his stomach. Ned kneels behind the second bandit and slices the scalp from his head. Blood runs down his face. Ned pulls the scalp from the bandit's head and lets the bandit fall forward. Ned kneels behind the third bandit and slices the scalp from his head. Blood runs down his face. Ned pulls the scalp from the bandit's head and lets the bandit fall forward. Ned kneels behind the fourth bandit and slices the scalp from his head. Blood runs down the bandit's face. Ned pulls the scalp from the bandit's head. Before Ned lets the bandit fall, Yellowfoot steps towards Ned in the body. He places his open palm on the bandit's head and removes it covered in blood. The bandit falls forward on his stomach. Yellowfoot raises his hand to Ned and presses it against his face, leaving the bloody print of a hand on the right half of Ned's face, with the pinky going up the side of the nose and the thumb running along Ned's jaw into his earlobe. A little later, Ned stands below Yellowfoot atop his horse. The other Indians all sit atop their horses. Ned hands the reins of Red's horses to Yellowfoot. Yellowfoot takes the reins. Yellowfoot: may the eagle watch over you, Great Spotted Cat. Yellowfoot turns and leads the other Indians away. A little later, at the edge of the Indian burial ground, a pile of white rocks lays over Red's body. A cross made from 2 bound pieces of wood rises from the sand at the head of the rocks. Ned kneels by the grave. Tears stream down his face. He places another rock on the pile. Ed brings him another rock. He places it on the pile. Ted brings him another rock. He places it on the pile. Ned, rest in peace, little Red. Rest in peace, my boy. Ed, are you an Injun, Pa? Ned, I was once, a long time ago. Before any of you boys came along. Before I knew your ma. Are we Injuns, Pa? Ned stands up and ruffles Ted's hair. Ned, no, Ted, you're not an Injun. You're a cowboy through and through. Ted, whew. Ted, we're not going to die, are we, Pa? Ned, the eagle is watching over us now, boys. Ted, that's just some voodoo Injun talk, Pa. Are we going to die or not? Ned, no, boys, you're not going to die. You're not going to die, all right? Nothing can touch us now. Ed starts to wander around a little. Ted, now you tell us. I already thought nothing could touch us. Ned, what I raised you boys with the special, Ted, and no one can ever take that away. Ted, they sure took it from Red. Ned, that's enough. Ed looks off into the distance and points to the sand. Ed, look, Pa, the trail starts up again right over there. Ned and Ted look where Ed is pointing. The shoeless hoofprints resume in the sand nearby, heading the same direction they were going before and continuing to the horizon. Ned, well, I guess we better follow them. Okay. Exterior. Open desert. Later that day. The trail of shoeless hoofprints extends out into the distance as far as the eye can see. The sun hangs fat and gold in the clear blue sky. Ned, Ed, Ted, and Red ride along the trail. The muscles of their horses ripple with their stride. They ride for a while. Ted, I want to go home, Pa. Can't we just go home? Ned, we don't got a home to go to no more. Ted, I'm scared. Ned, I'm scared too, Ted. Ted, I don't want to die. Ned, look, now none of us are going to die, all right? Ted, what about Red? Ned, I'm sorry about your brother, I really am. And I'm sorry about your mom and all the girls, but that's in the past now. We can't change it. We're going to need to start over somehow, but before we do, we got to find this Jack fella that done this and put an end to him, or he'll just come back and do it all over again. Ted, how do you know? They keep riding. Ned doesn't respond. Ted, how do you know, Pa? Ned doesn't answer. Ed, I thought you said Jack was dead. Ned, CLINTWOOD Jack is dead. But this fella calling himself Jack too. So Jack's all we got to call him for now. They ride for a while. Ed, I ain't afraid, Pa. I'm going to kill that son of a bitch and eat his liver. Ned turns and looks at Ed. Behind them in the distance, a posse of men gallops toward them on horses. A large cloud of dust follows in their wake. Ned, we got company, boys. The boys turn and look. The posse gains on them. Ed, what do we do? Ned, I reckon these will be lawmen and the like, looking for Jack just like us. Let's wait him out and talk it over. Whoa! Ned stops his horse. The boys stop their horses. Boys, whoa! They turn to face the posse. Ed, I hope you're right about this, Pa. Ned, me too. I've been wrong before. Be ready for anything. The posse rides up to Ned and the boys, stopping their horses in a circle around them. The posse consists of 8 men, the sheriff from the first town, Gus, deputies 3 and 4, and 4 other cowboys. Ned, howdy fellas. Gus, that's him. Sheriff, what's with the war paint? You boys been smoking something out here? Some cactus root? Gus, they been cavorting with the Injuns is what? Deputy 3, watch out for them little ones. They're quick on the draw. Ned looks at Gus. Sorry about that business yesterday. Glad to see you're up to riding. Gus, I wouldn't miss it. Sheriff, I heard there was quite a lot of business yesterday. Ned, we're looking for him too. Sheriff, way I figure it, you're the ones we're looking for. Ned, how do you figure? Sheriff, you killed 2 of my deputies. Ned, they drew down on me from behind. Sheriff, not to mention the bartender. Ned, yeah, well, I almost forgot about him. I'm sorry about that, but he was uncooperative. Sheriff, then there's the matter of Brandon old Gus here. Guess he was uncooperative too. Ned, I already said I was sorry about that. Gus, sorry ain't gonna cut it, Sheriff. Sheriff, tell me you're not gonna go and get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 80 killed over some broken down barman's pride, Sheriff. Sheriff, way I hear it is everyone told you just what you were asking and you just didn't want to hear it the way it was. Ned, what about the other fella? Sheriff, he had a drink and a bath, bought and paid for. 4 fellas drew on him over a game of cards and he cleaned them up. Where I come from, we call that self-defense. What do you call setting fire to an entire town, burning it clear to the ground? Sheriff, hadn't heard nothing about that. Ned, he killed women and children, even animals. Nothing survived, nothing. Sheriff, didn't happen in my town. Ned, I see. Sheriff, so you gonna go quiet like, or are we gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way? Ned, you know, I used to be a lawman myself around these here parts. Sheriff, of course, none of us really care what you used to be, mister, or where you used to be it. Right now, around these parts, you're pretty much considered an outlaw. Gus, not pretty much, exactly an outlaw. Ned, well, me and my boys here ain't really planning on going nowheres but that-a-way. Ain't that right, boys? Ted, yes, sir. Ed, that's right, Pa. Deputy 3, I'm telling you, you got to watch out for them two. They're quick on the draw. Ed, quicker than grease lightning, mister. Ned, you know something, Sheriff? Sheriff, what's that? Ned, Isle's been a little old-fashioned. In the blink of an eye, Ned spins both of his guns out of their holsters and points them at the sheriff and Gus, catching them off guard. They do not draw. Everyone else in the posse draws. They all point at Ned. Come on now, boys. I'm sure we can do some kind of agreement that doesn't involve all 3 of us going back that-a-way and also don't involve the 8 of you going straight to hell. Sheriff, straight to hell, you say? Ned, I never sent no one the other way. Ed leans forward on his horse and rubs its neck. Ed, easy boy. He slides his feet out of the stirrups and brings them up on the saddle. He presses into a standing position. Deputy number 3, watch out for this one. Deputy number 4, what are you doing, boy? Deputy number 3, get down. Ed starts flapping his arms like a bird, nice and slow. Ed, I am Big Chief, Crazy Stripes, and I can fly like the eagle. I have come to take your souls to the next world. In the blink of an eye, Ed draws both of his guns and shoots both the deputies in the hearts. Blood splatters out of them. They slide off their horses and thud to the ground without ever firing a shot. Ted draws both of his guns and starts shooting. Ned shoots at the sheriff and Gus. The shots knock them back. Blood splatters out of their chests as they fall to the ground. Ed jumps off his horse. His shadow flies across the sand. His arms wrap around one of the cowboys. He pulls the cowboy off his horse and lands on top of him as they thud to the ground. He puts the barrel of his gun to the cowboy's temple and blows his brains out. Blood splatters all over Ed in the sand. One of the remaining cowboys stands at the side of Ned's horse and puts the barrel of the shotgun in Ned's ribs next to his heart. Don't even, cowboy number one. Don't even think about it. Just drop him. Ned looks down at the shotgun against his ribs and drops his guns on the sand. Cowboy number two stands behind Ed with a gun to the back of his head. He cocks it. Cowboy two, you're fast, kid, but you ain't that fast. Give me the gun, nice and slow. Ed hands the gun to the cowboy. The cowboy takes it and pushes Ed forward onto his belly. He kneels on Ed's back as he starts to bind his wrists. Cowboy one grabs Ned and pulls him off his horse. He forces Ned to the ground on his belly and kneels on his back to restrain him. Cowboy three kneels down next to Ned and starts to bind his wrists. Cowboy one, Sheriff, I'm hit, but I'll live. The sheriff pulls himself to his feet. Ned turns his head to the side and rests his cheek on the sand. Ted is lying next to him on his back, his head tilted to the side, looking right at Ned. Blood oozes out of his mouth and body and soaks into the sand around him. His eyes blink. Ted, they got me, Pa. I'm sorry, Pa, they got me. Ned, no! Flashback. Interior, Jack's house, Clintwood. Evening, crackling. The body of another young boy lies on the floor burning and bursts with thick black smoke and flames. End flashback. Ted's lifeless eyes stare back at Ned and blood oozes from his mouth and soaks into the sand. Cowboy one jerks Ned back up into his feet. Cowboy one, come on, let's go. Cowboy jerks Ed back up into his feet. A little later, the sheriff and three cowboys ride in the opposite direction. The sheriff holds his side and blood oozes over him. Ned and Ed walk alongside cowboys 1 and 2 who have lassos wrapped around their necks and shotguns pointed at them. Cowboy 3 rides along with Ned and Ed horses in tow. Ned, I got a right to bury my son. Sheriff, you don't got no rights no more. For all I care, the buzzards can have him. In the distance, Jack rides along a ridge in the same direction as the posse. Dressed in black, riding his black horse, he seems like a silhouette. Closer up, Jack squints in the beaming sun, watching the posse. Jack. Lawmen. A little later, the posse rides through the desert with Ned and Ed and their horses in tow. Ned and Ed are close to passing out from exhaustion and barely able to stay on their feet. Sheriff, what's this? In the distance, Jack rides toward them head on. The posse keeps riding. Jack gets closer. The posse keeps riding. Jack stops right in front of them. They ride up to him and stop. Jack's face concealed by a bandana and the brim and shadow of his hat. Sheriff, whoa, boy. Cowboys, whoa. Ned and Ed look up at Jack, unsure if it's the same man they are chasing or not. Sheriff, can we help you? Jack stares at them. They stare back. Cowboy 1, you want something, buddy? Jack, yeah. Cowboy 2, what's that? In the blink of an eye, Jack draws both of his guns. Bang, 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 bang. 4 shots. He spins his guns back into their holsters. The cowboys release their grip on the lassos and the other horses' reins. One by one, the sheriff and cowboys slide off their horses and thud to the ground, dead. Blood oozes out of their mouths and bodies. Ned and Ed look up at Jack with the lassos now limp around their necks. Still not sure if Jack is the man they have been chasing or not. Ned, much obliged. Jack, I never liked lawmen much. Ned, well, thanks anyway. Ed, yeah, thanks, mister. Jack, I reckon you'll be wanting to bury that boy. Ned, I reckon so. Jack, tell me something. Ned, yeah. Jack, if a bunch of broken down old townies can get over on you like that, how in God's green earth do you think you're going to catch me? Jack gives a little smile. Jack, hi-yah! Jack heels his horse and they bolt away in the original direction of the tracks. Ned and Ed turn and watch as Jack becomes smaller and smaller and disappears into the waves of heat in the distance. Ed, he's quick, Pa. Ned, yeah. Ed, real quick. Ned, come on now, let's get ourselves together and go take care of Ted. Ed, yeah. Exterior, open desert, later that day. Ted's body lies in the sand, covered with and surrounded by buzzards picking away at it. Bang! All the buzzards but one scatter and fly away. One buzzard flinches but remains standing on Ted's chest. Ned stands nearby, pointing a gun skyward. Ed by his side. The buzzard on Ted's chest looks at Ned nervously, flinches, and takes one last peck at Ted, driving its beak into one of Ted's eyes and pulling the eye out of its socket, and it flies away with the eye in its mouth. Ted lies in the blood-soaked sand, his clothes and flesh picked over with holes and spotted with circles of blood. Ned and Ed stare down at him. A little later, a tree stands by a rocky area near a few small hills. Ned kneels beneath the tree and drives a cross made of two pieces of wood bound together into the ground at the head of a pile of white rocks covering Ted's body. Ed stands nearby looking around. Ned stands up. Ed looks back at him. Ain't you gonna say something, Pa? Ned, do you want to say something? Ed walks over to the grave and stands there staring down at it. Ned stares down at it as well. Ed thinks for a while. Ed, at least you was a man, Ted. Ned looks at Ed. Ed looks at his dad quickly and then back down to the grave. You boys had some women in that town. Ed, yeah. Ned, but not red. Not red. Ned nods. That's all right. Was it nice? Ed, it was Ted's first time. It weren't mine, but it was for Ted. Ned, you done it before? Ed, Little Molly Hutchins. I done it with Little Molly a few times. Little Molly, huh? Yeah. How was that? It was nice. But she's just a girl. I liked the one in that town. She was a woman. She knew what to do. And she had big knockers. Yeah. I liked that. Yeah. They were both nice. That's good, son. I'm glad you're a man. I'm glad that we're men together. Ed looks around. I don't see no trail, Pa. Ned, we don't need no trail no more. Trail's been leading us to CLINTWOOD from the start. Ed, you been to CLINTWOOD, Pa? Ned, I've been there once. Exterior, open desert, later that day. The sun hangs a little lower in the clear blue sky, still fat and golden. A few clouds float around. Ned and Ed ride their horses through the desert. Ed, what are we doing, Pa? We're going to find that feller and then we're going to kill him. Ed, I don't know if we can kill him. I don't even know if he can be killed. Ned, I only ever knew one man that was as quick as me with a gun, and he had his chance and he didn't take it. And I killed him. That fella ain't no faster. Ed, I don't feel like we're after him no more, Pa. It feels like he's after us. Ned, yeah. Ed, tell me something, Pa. What's that? How come you're so sure Clintwood Jack's dead? Sudden, heavy galloping. Ned and Ed turn to see. Up close, Jack riding right up on them like a demon, all in black, his jacket blowing in the wind, a scowl across his face. His horse's nostrils flare. Its muscles churn. Its black coat glistens. Its eyes reflect the desert around, the blue sky above, and the fat golden sun. Jack's arms extend out. A black whip extends from his hand and flies towards Ed. Crack! It wraps around Ed's neck and tightens. Ed lets go of his reins and grabs hold of the whip close to his neck. Jack, hi-ya! Jack's horse hoofs pound the sand. Its legs churn, its muscles ripple, and its coat glistens. The black horse lunges forward. The whip tightens and pulls straight. Ed's feet slide out of the stirrups. His legs slide off the horse. His shadow flies across the sand and meets his body against the sand with a hard thud. Ned's face strains as he screams, "No!" Ed drags through the sand behind Jack's horse as the horse speeds through the desert. Ned, hi-ya! Ned's feet heel his horse. The horse lunges forwards. Its feet pound the sand. Its muscles ripple as its legs churn. Jack's horse is stronger and faster and pulls ahead, dragging the boy behind. Ed holds the whip with his hands. Ned gallops forward as fast as his horse will go. Ed drags through the sand, his body flailing against the ground, his hands bloody with their grip on the whip. His legs churn, his body flips and flails. Ned gallops along behind, gradually losing ground. His face now bloody. Ed's hands slip away from the whip in exhaustion. The whip tightens around his neck. His feet stop churning. He simply flails as he's dragged without resisting. Ned becomes a speck in the distance. A little later, the sun beams in the sky. Ed lies in the sand, his clothes tattered, his flesh torn and body burned by the sun. Ned. Ed! Ned rides up quickly on his horse. His legs swing over the horse as it still moves. He jumps to the ground and runs along with the horse as he brings it to a stop next to Ed. Whoa, boy, whoa. Ned kneels down next to Ed. Ed. He killed me, Pa. He killed me. And he's gonna kill you too if you don't stop. Ned, I couldn't stop now, son, not even if I wanted to. You're gonna be all right. You've got the blood of a warrior. You've got the strength of the great spotted cat. You're gonna be all right, Ed. I'm gonna take care of you. Ed, I ain't, Pa. You ain't. I ain't all those things, Pa. I ain't you. I ain't nothing like you. Just go away, Pa. Go away and forget all this before he gets you too. Ned, I can't. Ed, just tell me how come. Ned, how come what? Ed, Clintwood Jack, how come you're so sure he's dead? Ned, 'cause I killed him myself. I killed him myself. He's the one that got away, isn't he? But he didn't get away, did he, Pa? No one ever got away from you. Ed slips away. His head tilts to the side. Oh, Ed. Ned puts his hand over his face. Tears stream down his face from beneath his hand. He removes his hand and stares at Ed. He looks up. The silhouette of Clintwood stands in the distance, half burned to the ground. Skeletons of buildings. Ned. Jack! Flashback. Interior, Jack's house, Clintwood. Evening, crackling. The body of a third young boy lies burning and bursting with thick black smoke and flames on the floor. Exterior, Clintwood, evening. Buildings almost in silhouette line either side of the main street, centered on the horizon. The sun sets fat and red in the horizon, full of glowing purple clouds. Waves of heat ripple. The laughter of children and children making gun noises echo through the town. Cowboy boots across the main street. Legs, a torso, arms swing casually by its side. The crooked silhouette of Ned crosses the street into the setting sun. Suddenly, All the buildings of the town burst and crackle with flame. Now they don't. Ned crosses the street. Children laugh and scamper past him, shooting sounds as they point their imaginary guns at him and each other. Suddenly, the town and children burst and crackle with flames. Now they don't. They hurry into the distance and disappear into Jack's house. Ned follows them down the street. Suddenly, the town bursts and crackles with flames around him. This time it lingers. Thick black smoke drifts up against the setting sun. Ned continues down the street. Exterior, Jack's house. A few moments later, the burning has stopped. Ned walks slowly past the front of the house. Light bleeds out through the windows. Inside, children scamper past a window around a dining room table. The young woman walks out of the kitchen with the serving tray of food and places it on the dining room table. Woman, dinner time! Ned's cowboy boots climb the front step. He pushes the cracked open door in. Light from inside bleeds out. The beautiful young woman sits at the far end of the table. The three young boys sit on one side of the table and the three young girls sit on the other. Jack sits with his back to the entrance. The young woman looks up. Her face goes cold with dread as if she has heard of this person. Jack's head turns. Smash two. Fire crackles furiously all around. The ceiling is eaten completely away and open to the star-speckled sky. Thick black smoke rises from the flames, scorching the blackened wood frame of the house. Everything is ablaze. Even the furniture crackles with flames and bursts with sparks. The dining table, the rug beneath it. Dead bodies lie scattered around the floor, consumed with flames and give way to thick black smoke. A woman, a boy, a smaller boy, an even smaller boy, a girl, a smaller girl, an even smaller girl. Some of them have clearly been shot prior to burning and have discernible holes in them from which the fire burns. Some are burned too badly to tell. Jack lies on the floor. Ned's boots stand next to him. His legs extend up. A coat hangs down. An arm reaches down, pointing a shiny chrome gun. Bang! A bullet rips through the center of Jack's forehead. Ned stands over the body, pointing his shiny chrome gun down. End flashback. Interior, Jack's house, Clintwood. Now. Silence. The flames are gone. Ned stands in exactly the same place, looking down at the spot on the floor where Jack laid. The floor is bare and charred black. No one is there. Ned looks around. Flakes of dry blood in the shape of a hand cling to his face. The skeleton of the house stands without a roof, black and burned to a cinder, blue sky above. The charred remains of the town loom in the background. Ned. Damn it, Jack, I killed you, didn't I? I know I did. It was a long time, Jack. It was a long time ago, Jack, it was a long time, Jack. But I found you after all those years, long after I stopped looking. I couldn't just let you go, Jack. Not after all you done. I couldn't just let you start a town and a family of outlaws. Not with all that dirty money. Not just like everything were okay, Jack. Do you know what the Injuns did to me, Jack? They made me their dog, Jack. They made me their dog. East Clintwood Cemetery, sunset. Sorry, not East Clintwood yet. Exterior, Clintwood Cemetery. Sunset. Ned sits on his horse in front of a fat orange setting sun that ripples in the waves of heat. His horse stands in the cemetery on the edge of Clintwood, large enough for everyone from the town to be buried there. Ed is draped over his horse, which stands next to Ned's. Ned holds the reins of Ed's horse in one hand and looks down at one of the grave markers that reads, Jack Clintwood. 1807 to 1852. Loving husband and father. Founder of the town of CLINTWOOD. I don't even know what I'm doing, Jack. You're dead and I'm chasing a ghost, or the devil's playing a trick on me. Little Indian boy. You dropped this, mister. Ned startles and looks to his side. A little Indian boy stands beside Ned's horse, holding out Ned's gold sheriff's star that Jack took so long ago. Ned reaches down and takes it from the boy and looks at it. He drops the reins of the other horse and switches the badge to his other hand. He leans over, grabs the little Indian boy by the back of the neck of his clothes, lifts him up with one hand and rests him on the horse in front of him so they are facing each other. Where'd you get this? The little Indian boy points to where he was standing. It was lying right there. Old Indian. Unhand the boy. Ned looks up. The old Indian sits on a horse nearby, aiming a rifle at Ned. Ned, who are you? The old Indian cocks the rifle. Unhand the boy. Ned grabs the little Indian boy by the neck of his clothes, lifts him up and lowers him back to the ground. Ned, there you go, little fella. He runs over to the side of the old Indian on the horse. The old Indian lowers his rifle. None survived the CLINTWOOD massacre. Ned, yeah. Old Indian, I never known a devil but the white man, but I do believe in ghosts. And if it's a ghost you seek, my pale friend, maybe you should seek it in a ghost town. Ned, maybe I would if I knew where one was. Old Indian, there is one not half a day ride east of here. What's it called? Old Indian, the town has long been forgotten, and its name I will not speak. Ned, can you tell me how to get there? Old Indian, the town is hidden, and its way cannot be told. Ned, could you show me? Old Indian, only the morning sun can show the way. My home lies halfway from here to there. You can spend the night with me if you like, and in the morning I will show you the place. Ned thinks about it. Old Indian, the horse with no shoes travels in that direction. Ned, all right, let's go. Old Indian, you will want to bury the child. Ned, yeah, but not around here. The little Indian boy climbs up the leg of the old Indian and sits in front of him on the horse. Old Indian, I know of a place. Ned, let's go. I've had enough of this place. Exterior hills that night. The stars shine bright in the dark, clear desert sky. The moon lights the hills. Ned rides alongside the old Indian, leading Ed's horse by the reins. The little Indian boy sits on the old Indian's horse. They round and ascend a trail on a small hill that opens into a valley with rocks on one side and desert on the other. A large teepee covered in paintings stands alone in the valley. Old Indian, this is my home. Ned, are you the only one here? Old Indian, we are all here. No, I mean, are you the only one that lives here? He lives here too. It's just you and the boy? It is a good place for a boy. It is a good place for an old man. Ned, you don't have a tribe? The old Indian stops his horse next to a post outside the teepee. Ned stops next to him. The old Indian gets off his horse and ties its reins to the post. Ned gets off his horse and ties both of his horses. Old Indian, I belong to none, and none belong to me, except for him. He's yours? No, I am his. You belong to him? Yes. And who does he belong to? He belongs to himself and to the world. Ned, have you always been here? For as long as I can remember, I have lived in these hills. Since I was his age, it is all I have ever known. I see all the things that come to pass. How old are you? I have 1,000 years, or so it seems. I lost track a long time ago. Soon will come my time. When the boy no longer needs me, I will go. Come, I will show you where to put your boy. It is a good place. Exterior hillside later that night. A cross made of 2 pieces of wood bound together sticks out of the ground at the head of a pile of white rocks covering Ed's body. Ned stands by the grave without a shirt on, holding a final white stone. He leans over, places it on the pile, and rises. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Ned turns and looks out into the night. After a while, he walks away and disappears into the darkness. Exterior, the teepee, a little later. Ned walks through the darkness to the teepee. Bright orange light flickers inside. Ned walks to the front of the teepee. His hand grabs the skin at the opening and pulls it aside. Interior, teepee, that moment. Ned enters and let the skin close behind him. The teepee glows orange from the fire burning in the middle of the floor, beneath an opening in the top of the teepee. A metal contraption stands over the fire, holding a hanging metal plate with a small groove in it for pouring. The old Indian and little Indian boy stand by the fire. Old Indian, is he resting? Ned, peacefully, thank you. It's a very nice place. It faces the valley and the desert and the moon and stars. Are you going to cook something? Old Indian, I'm going to make a bullet. A bullet? For what? For the man who rides the horse with no shoes. Ned, I got plenty of bullets. Old Indian, if you want to kill a dead man, you will need a golden bullet. Ned, what are you saying? Old Indian, when you are dealing with the dead, you deal with a different set of rules. Now wait a second. I know what I said before and the whole thing about the ghost town, but that man was flesh and blood, just like you and me. Seen his blood, have you? Have you? Actually, no. Not that I recall. Said it yourself. Was flesh and blood. Once. But may be no longer. Now, Ned, now that's just a bunch of redskin hocus pocus you're talking. Some voodoo magic, crazy talk, that's all. You bear the mark of the eagle, but not its wisdom. There's no such thing as ghosts. So certain of your convictions, are you? I'm not sure about anything anymore. All I know is that I'm going to kill that son of a bitch, and I wish I could do it 1,000 times. One for every year you walk this earth. Then it is better to have a golden bullet and not need it than to need one. Then it is better to have a golden bullet and not need it than to need one and not have it. Is it not? Certainly it will do the job as well as any other. Fair enough. Then only one thing remains. What's that? Do you have any gold? Ned thinks. He reaches into his pocket and removes his gold sheriff's star. He holds it up. This is gold. I can make 1 bullet from that. 1 bullet's all I'm going to need. Ned steps toward the old Indian and hands him the badge. The old Indian takes it and places it on the metal plate with the groove hanging over the fire. A little later, the gold has melted on the plate. The old Indian's hand wraps around the wooden handle of the plate, removes it from the fire, and holds it next to a thong-shaped press with the mold for a bullet on the edge of the tongs. He pours the gold into the press and clamps it shut. He looks at Ned and nods. A little later, the old Indian sits on the floor, Indian style, in front of the fire and holds up the bullet. It glistens with the reflection of the old Indian and Ned sitting to his right. It is a fine bullet. He hands the bullet to his right. Jack, not Ned, sits Indian style on the floor next to the old Indian in front of the fire. The little Indian boy sits on Jack's shoulders with his feet dangling down in front of Jack's chest. Jack takes the bullet from the old Indian and holds it up. It glistens against the firelight with their reflection. It is a very fine bullet, my friend. Ned sleeps on the floor on the other side of the fire with a blanket over him. The little Indian boy makes the shape of a gun with each of his hands and pokes Jack's face with them several times, making a shooting noise each time. Pew, 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 pew. In the blink of an eye, Ned jars to consciousness, jerks up to a sitting position, draws both of his guns, and aims them directly at Jack. His eyes are intense, his breathing is heavy, his heart is pounding visibly within his chest, sweat runs down his face. Jack is no longer there. The little Indian boy stands there staring back at Ned. He makes the shape of guns with each of his hands and holds them both out toward Ned, smiling. Pew, 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 pew. Ned sits there with his guns outstretched, staring back at the little Indian boy, intense. He turns his head to the old Indian, who smiles back at him. This place is strong with spirits. Ned, you don't say. Ned lowers his guns. Exterior, the valley, dawn. A chrome gun glistens in Ned's hand. The cylinder hangs open. 6 shiny bullets glisten in the chambers. Ned's hand slides across the cylinder and spins it cleanly. He tilts the gun to its side. The cylinder locks in place and spins to a stop. Ned holsters his gun firmly. He removes his other gun from its holster and holds it in front of him. The chrome glistens in the morning light. He opens the cylinder. 6 bullets glisten in the chambers. Ned's hand slides across the cylinder. It spins cleanly. Ned tilts the gun to its side. The cylinder locks into place and spins to a stop. Ned holsters the gun firmly. His boot slides into a stirrup. His other leg swings over his horse. His other boot slides onto the other stirrup. He settles into the saddle. His eyes burn with fury and reflect the valley around and the sun gleaming over the horizon. The old Indian sits on a horse next to Ned. He hands him the golden bullet. Use it wisely. I will. Ned takes it and tucks it into a small pocket on the breast of his jacket. Shall we? Lead the way. The old Indian heels his horse. Hi-yah! The old Indian bolts away and rides into the valley. Ned, all right, boy, let's finish this. Hi-yah! Ned heels his horse. It neighs and bolts forward. He catches up to the old Indian. Their horses get smaller and smaller as they gallop into the distance next to each other, kicking up dust in their wake. Exterior, a hill. A little later, Ned follows the old Indian up a hill where he stops. Ned stops beside him. The old Indian looks out to the mountains across the desert. Ned looks at him. A little while passes. Ned, what are you looking for? Old Indian, the way. Ned looks out at the desert and then back at the old Indian. Patience, my pale friend. The sun will show the way. You must be patient. They stare into the desert. The sun rises over the mountains, over the desert. Old Indian, there. The old Indian points to the base of one of the mountains. Ned looks where he is pointing. The base of the mountain runs into the desert. What? Where the mountain meets the desert and the beam of sun meets them both. There. The Indian points again. You see? The sunlight breaks the ridge of another mountain and meets the base of the mountain where the mountain meets the desert. Like a wave of heat, the mountain ripples and a path opens. I see it. You must hurry. My journey with you ends here. Thank you. Go. Hiya! Ned heels his horse and bolts away across the desert. Old Indian, find your peace. As Ned's horse gallops away, Ned looks back over his shoulder to see the old Indian dissolve into a ripple of heat. Ned pulls up on his reins. Whoa, boy, whoa! Ned's horse stops. Ned pulls its reins to the side. His horse turns back to the hill as the old Indian disappears. Ned pulls the reins to the side again and circles his horse back around to face the mountain. He whips its reins. Come on, boy. Yeah, yeah! Ned's horse bolts away in a cloud of dust. Exterior. The path, a little later. Ned rides from the edge of the desert into the mouth of the path into the mountain. The sun gleams down on him. The path into the mountain is narrow. Ned looks up. The path opens to the sky all the way at the top of the mountain. Ned looks ahead. The path disappears around a bend not far ahead. Ned looks down. The shoeless hoofprints appear at the mouth of the path and travel into the mountain. Ned takes out one of his guns and opens the cylinder. He removes the next bullet from its chamber. He puts it in the breast pocket of his jacket and removes the golden bullet. He slides the golden bullet into the next chamber and clicks the cylinder shut in place. He reholsters the gun firmly. Come on, boy. Ned whips the horse's reins and heels it gently. The horse walks down the path and vanishes around the first bend. Exterior the path, a little later. Ned rides along the path. It's stone and narrow. The shoeless hoofprints ride out in front of him. Sunlight bleeds over the top of the mountain and lights the top of one side of the corridor. A little later, Ned rides along the path. The shoeless hoofprints extend out in front of him. Sun bleeds most of the way down one side of the corridor. Buzzards line the top of both sides of the corridor, peering down at Ned. One of them lets out a chilling squawk. A little later, Ned rides along the path. The shoeless hoofprints extend out in front of him. The sun peeks out over the ridge of the corridor and lights the entire path through the hill. Ned rounds a curve in the path. A buzzard stands on the corpse of a man. The man's clothes and flesh are picked over and some of his body reveals skeleton. The buzzard squawks defiantly and spreads its wings as it stares at Ned. Its wings almost span the width of the path. Whoa! Ned pulls back on his horse's reins and stops the beast. The buzzard plunges its beak into the man and rips a large piece of flesh from his bones. It spreads its wings again and flies up to the top of the ridge, where it perches among the other buzzards peering down at Ned. It gulps down the flesh. The corpse's arm reaches up, half torn flesh, half bone. Corpse. Help me. Ned whips his horse's reins and heels his horse. Hi-yah! The horse bolts forward, trampling the corpse as it disappears around a bend. A little later, Ned rides along the path. Sweat drips down his face. The sun beats down directly overhead. The ridge over the path is lined with buzzards, squawking furiously. The shoeless hoofprints continue forward in front of Ned through the skeleton corpses of many men. Ned's horse crunches over the corpses as the buzzards scream from above. One of the buzzards swoops down right at Ned. Ned spins a gun out of its holster and blasts the bird. It screams as its head splatters and thuds to the ground. Several more buzzards scream as their friend drops, and they swoop down towards Ned. He aims his gun and shoots them. Bang, 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 bang. 5 more heads splatter, and the birds drop to the ground. Another buzzard screams from above and swoops down. Quickly, he holsters his gun. He spins the other gun out of its holster and takes aim. He realizes the golden bullet is chambered to fire next. He pulls the gun back and rotates the cylinder. The buzzard lands on Ned's shoulder and sinks its claws into him. Ah! Ned drops his gun onto the sand. He reaches up and grabs the buzzard around the neck and pulls it off him. The buzzard rips some of Ned's jacket and flesh as Ned tears it away. Ned holds the bird around the neck and beats it against the stone wall of the corridor until it's dead. He drops the corpse of the bird onto the sand. Another buzzard screams from above and swoops down. Ned slides off his horse onto the ground and grabs his gun from the sand. He rolls onto his back and aims upward. Several more buzzards swoop down. Bang, 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 bang. Their heads splatter and their bodies drop to the ground. Ned opens the cylinder. Only the golden bullet remains. Ned swallows hard. He puts the gun back in its holster. 2 more buzzards scream. Ned stands up. They swoop toward him. He waits. They swoop closer. Their beaks open. Ned snatches them out of the air by their necks at the same time. Ah, ha, 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 I gotcha! I gotcha! Ha, 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 ha! Ned drops to his knees in the sand and presses the buzzards against the ground as he chokes their breath from them. Another buzzard screams and it lands on Ned's back and digs its claws through his jacket into his flesh. It raises its head and opens its beak. Ned's horse neighs wickedly, raises on its hind legs and kicks the buzzard off Ned's back into the wall and tramples it into the stone with its front hooves. Its eyes open wide in fury, it drops back to its front legs. The body of the buzzard drops to the ground. Ned rises with the 2 dead buzzards in his grip and holds them up to the sky. Ah ha ha ha! Come on, you buzzards! Come and get it! I'll kill you all! I'll kill you all! You hear me? I'll kill you all! The wall of buzzards on the ridge screams and they spread their wings and fly away. Ned throws the corpses of the 2 buzzards to the ground and pulls out his knife. He holds up his knife. Come on, you buzzards, where are you going? I'm right here! Come and get me! I'm right here! Yeah! Ha ha ha! Woo! Ned now crazed. Ned strips the jacket and shirt from his body and slices his knife across his chest. Blood oozes over him and runs down his body. Jack! I'm coming to get you, Jack! I'm coming to get you, Jack! Ned stuffs his knife back in its sheath. His boot slides into his stirrup. His legs straighten. His other leg swings over his horse. The other boot slides into the other stirrup. He grips the reins and whips them. Yah! Ned's horse bolts forward over the corpses of men and birds and disappears around the bend. A little later, Ned rides along the path. The shoeless hoofprints extend out in front of him. The sun beats down directly overhead. The blood on Ned's body has dried and caked to his skin. He rides around a bend and the path in the mountain opens and descends into a valley surrounded by hills on every side. A small, broken town stands in the middle of the small valley. Ned follows the shoeless hoofprints along the path to the town. At the edge of the town, Ned comes to a sign shot full of holes that dangles crooked from one corner by a rusty chain. Ned reaches out. His fingers wrap around the bottom of the sign. His hand tilts the sign up so it can be read. East CLINTWOOD. CLINTWOOD, engraved in black, and East carved in above it by a knife. Ned lets the sign go. It swings down, snaps its only remaining rusty chain, and falls to the ground. Ned looks down. Next to where the sign lays falls the last step of the shoeless hoofprints before they enter the town and disappear. Ned whips his horse's reins gently. Come on. Ned rides the horse into the front of the town and stops at a post. Whoa! Ned gets off his horse and ties it to a post. Up closer, the town is old and empty and rotten. The wood of its structures is old and gray and rotten and shot full of holes. The entire town is shot full of holes. It's impossible to tell what the buildings used to be. Ned walks into the town. He draws his gun and opens the cylinder. The golden bullet waits in the next chamber. Ned closes the cylinder. Jack! His call echoes all around. Jack, 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 Jack. It echoes again. Ned looks around. He approaches the first building on the right. He looks around. He kicks the door in, gun drawn. Interior, the first building that moment. The door doesn't swing open, but kicks directly inward and slams flat on the floor on its back. Ned stands just inside the doorway, pointing his gun. Beams of light scatter around the empty room through the bullet holes. Ned walks out. In the distance, Jack's horse stands tied to a post outside the building at the far end of town. Jack stands in the middle of the far end of the street, dressed in black. Ned walks out into the middle of the street and faces Jack. He looks at Jack. Jack looks back. As they talk, it echoes all around. Ned, who are you? Up close. I'm the last of my kin. I'm the last of my kin. There's still you. I came here to kill you. Do you feel lucky? In the distance, Ned stands looking at Jack. Up close, Ned's eyes widen. In the distance, Jack stands looking at Ned. Up close, Jack is calm and cool. He squints his eyes. Ned's hand wraps around his gun and draws it out of its holster. Jack's hand wraps around his gun and draws it out of its holster. Ned's arm extends out straight and points at Jack. In the distance, Jack is focused in the sight of Ned's gun. Jack's arm extends out straight and points at Ned. In the distance, Ned is focused in the sight of Jack's gun. A finger squeezes a trigger. A cylinder rotates. Bang! A hammer falls. Another finger squeezes a trigger. Another cylinder rotates. Bang! Another hammer falls. Up close, smoke seeps out of a gun. An arm holds the gun out straight. A black sleeve. A black jacket. Jack squints in the sun behind the barrel of the gun. In the distance, Ned lies dead on the ground in the dirt, spread eagle. Up close, Ned's lifeless eyes stare up to the clear blue sky and reflect the buzzards circling above. Jack holsters his gun as he turns and walks to his horse. Instead of untying it, he removes the muzzle and bit from its mouth. He walks around to the horse's side, undoes it, and pushes the saddle off the beast. It thuds to the ground. The horse neighs. Jack reaches into his pocket. He removes his hand with a cube of sugar. He holds it up to the horse's mouth. The horse takes the cube of sugar. Its nostrils burst with pleasure and flare with a sigh. Jack's hand engulfs his horse's snout with affection and slides away. Jack's hand smacks his horse's hindquarter hard. The horse neighs and gallops away. Jack turns and walks out of the far end of town. He reaches his hand to his chest and picks a bullet hole with his finger. Blood oozes over him. He removes his hand and lets it dangle with the other as he walks out of the back of town and disappears into the waves of heat. In the distance, a graveyard lies beyond the town. Up close, next to where the old Indian buried Jack's heart, a gravestone reads, Jack CLINTWOOD, 1878 through 1825. The greatest pistolier that ever lived. The end. All right. So, a couple other things I'd like to address. East Clintwood, or The Lone Rider Wears Black, is protected by copyright at the United States Library of Congress? I've seen this question on numerous forums about screenwriting. This is where you copyright your material if you're a screenwriter. All screenwriters seem to ask about this. Protect your work by copyright at the United States Library of Congress. This is a copy of the original because I wanted to redact some of my personal information, but this is the form you're looking for. Form PA. It might be called something else now, Certificate of Registration. You can do this digitally and submit digitally now, but they will send you a hard copy back. This is the form you're looking for. This is what it looks like. You can see all the information on here. It's probably got the email address, the website address. Protect your work. Always protect your work. Now, I have a few other things I want to talk about. So, I am no storyboard artist. I'm also not a cartoonist, and I'm not that great at drawing, but I can draw some stick figures, and I want to show you what storyboards look like. Okay, so these are basically sort of just stick figure sketches. I don't want to get too into this, but also regarding screenwriting, some people follow an 8-sequence script structure, and some people follow a 12-sequence script structure, which would look like 8 sequences of 15 pages, or it would look like, well, 8 sequences of 15 pages adds up to 120. Or it would follow 12 sequences of 10 pages, which add up to 120. Personally, I think the sweet spot is 12 sequences of 8 to 9 pages, which lands you from 96 to 108 pages. That's the sweet spot. It's almost dead on 100 pages. 96 to 108, and you're in the sweet spot, okay? That's 12 sequences of 8 or 9 pages. So, I have 13 storyboards. One goes at the beginning, one goes at the end, and one goes in between each of the other 12 sequences. This is the sequence that's tacked on. I mentioned I had a tacked on beginning. I did not read this. This is a shootout in the past between Jack and Ned. I think it goes, Jack has the downturned brim and Ned has the upturned brim. So there's a shootout. Bullets flying everywhere. This seems to be Ned killing Jack's family, and here's a pool of blood. This seems to be where my pages start. Ned's family is dead. Jack is the one with the downturned brim. Jack is riding away on his horse. Ned's town is burning. That's fire up here. Jack with the downturned brim is running away into the desert. Ned and his 3 sons, 1, 2, 3, follow Jack into the desert where the cactuses are. We saw this part where Jack encircles them while they're sleeping at the fire in the desert. It's like the haunted spirit of Jack, or Jack's ghost, and the horse are watching Ned. It's like hypnotic eyes. Jack leads Ned into the path of the lynch mob. And the first of Ned's sons gets killed by the lynch mob, and they bury him in the rocks. The four Indians appear and kill. See the little separated heads. They kill the lynch mob, and there's Ned's first son that dies. There's Red right there. This is Jack with the hypnotic eye overlooking the posse from the town, capturing Ned, and I guess he's got two sons in the middle there with him somewhere. And you got the sheriff with the star. Ned sneaks up behind him on his horse and he rides down with his coat flapping behind him. I guess I didn't have a picture with the second son dead. So here is Ned with the upturned hat, kneeling over his son with the upturned hat, blood dripping out of him, the birds coming down. When I was a little kid, I went to this summer camp, and there was a painting of a cactus on the inside of the cabin wall, and it was a cactus, and it said "Hellbound Cactus." So that's just a little homage to this camp I went to when I was a kid. Here's the edge of CLINTWOOD. The two natives, the old native and the little boy native, lead Ned out of East CLINTWOOD, where Jack's family is buried. The old Indian, the Indian and the little Indian boy lead Ned with the upturned brim to the corridor between the mountains, illuminated by the hypnotic eye sun. The vultures are waiting above. And then East CLINTWOOD, the shootout between Jack with the downturned brim and Ed with the upturned brim. And you can see the town is full of holes. Now I mentioned that this script, although I did not particularly like the movie, The Proposition, that movie starts out inside a cabin that's shot full of holes and beams of light are coming through like laser beams. This is a bit homage, and to be fair, it's a bit stolen from The Proposition. The idea of the building's full of holes. And let's see, I got a few other things I want to share with you. So this is dated. This is close to 20 years ago. I wrote this in 2007 or 8, and I did a lot of preparation. So, as you can see, I've researched the cost of horses. Try to read this. Saddle horse, $3.50 a day. Wrangler, $36 an hour, 8-hour minimum. You got you got 3 horses per Wrangler. You got a driver to get your stuff there, $36 an hour. He's got to be there the whole time, so you're paying the driver as well, $36 an hour for 8-hour minimum. Truck and trailer to carry the horses, another $3.50 a day. It says up to 10. I don't know if that means 10 trailers. I don't know what that really means. $750 for a stunt horse. So I did some math here on the back. It says 9 days, 1 Wrangler, 36 an hour times 8. 5 days, 2 Wranglers, 36 an hour times 8. 14 days with 1 driver, 36 an hour times 8. 400 times 5, 400 times 2, 400 times 2, 400 times 4, 400 times 1. 64 equals 22,400. 400 times 14 horse stunts. I can't follow that exactly, and I'm doing it on the fly. So, but you can see I've done some research on the animals. I had a sheet like this for buzzards as well. It doesn't seem to be right here on the top. So, this is what would be called line producing. East CLINTWOOD cast report. Okay, you can see Ned Total, it's going to have lines of dialogue. Lines of dialogue, scenes where he speaks, and scenes where he appears. And it's going to break that down for all the characters. This is what will be called a scene report. You can do this in a program called Movie Magic Scheduling, which is by EP Entertainment Partners. That's a software I use. It's by subscription now. They recently changed it to subscription, unfortunately. So this is basically going to tell you, I'm not going to go through this too thoroughly because I'm running out of room on my card. I can see it happening actually. So I want to get this all in before that happens. So this is a scene report. It's basically going to tell you I'm not exactly sure. I have to look at it more thoroughly, but I am going to flip through it at least. It's been a while since I prepared this. 2 pages. Three pages. 4 pages. 5 pages. 6 pages. That's a scene report. This is just a list of your cast. I got to figure out how to do this on my software so that I can just pull the files up on a window next to me. And then you've got what would be called strip boards. This breaks your scenes down, okay? This is your production days. It's going to tell you day 1. They call it sheet 1. It's basically day 1. You're shooting scene number 1 and 2. You're shooting 2 1/8 pages that day. It breaks your shooting days down into 1/8 of a page. So on this day, you got scene 1 and 2, and you're shooting 2 1/8 pages. It tells you interior. This is for production, so production knows, are you shooting inside or outside? Interior, first town, and then there's a little breakdown of what you're going to shoot, and it tells you if it's day or night. That's for production. That's so they can arrange whether you're shooting a day shoot or a night shoot. Okay? 2, 3. And so you can see 18 days of shooting. And see at the very end, it says a safety day. That's a contingency day. I planned 1 day to go back and get stuff we missed. That's not too generous. And then I do have a budget for this. I do have a budget, but I don't have a hard copy of it. The budget comes out to 1.1 million, which is not fat enough. It should actually be about 1.8 or 2 million. The budget I made is a little bit light. It should be 1.8 to 2 million instead of 1.1 or 1.2. Anyway, so that's what I call homework. I do not know any other writer. I never encountered another writer through my master's program in life. I'm sure there are some. I have never encountered another writer who finishes their script and turns around and plans out the shooting schedule and the budget, the cast breakdown, the scene breakdown, the day out of days, and the strip boards. I do that ever since about East Clintwood. If I backtrack and I go, okay, these are my scripts that I think are good enough to see the light of day, and I have at least 10 that will never come out of a drawer. I schedule and budget all of them. So that is my East Clintwood project and script read. Thank you for joining me. East Clintwood. This has been the East Clintwood, or the Lone Rider Wears Black, script reading and discussion with notes and homework. Like I said, thank you for joining me. I hope I'll see you here again.